MTV Games, Virgin Megastore, and OneUp.com have joined forces to bring you the I Love Rock Band Valentine's Day Bash. On February 13th, your rock band can perform in the Ultimate Tournament and compete to win a Rock Band gaming prize package, including a $500 Virgin gift card and other great prizes. Sign-ups begin on February 6th at the Virgin Megastores in Orlando, New York City's Union Square, and Hollywood and Highland in Los Angeles. Check out virgin.oneup.com for more information. Rock Band. Start a band, rock the world.
All right, here we go, everybody. It's Friday, February the 8th, 2008, and this is the One Up Yours podcast. I'm Garnet Lee. Joining me today is Brian Intihar from the new regular team.
Yeah, I'm a regular, baby.
And I guess, should we, use the new titles? What do you think?
Oh, yeah,
He's
definitely.
Senior editor for previews on the One Up Network
That's
now.
right. It's all very opinionated across all the platforms.
And I guess I should say I'm senior editor for reviews on the One Up Network.
So that means everybody hates you.
There's nothing new about that. Sitting on his left side is Mr. Sam Kennedy, site director for the One Up Network.
I actually thought you were fired or something.
I know. Everybody thinks I am. Yeah.
Well, he could have been gone. And then joining us as our special guest today is Mr. Flynn DeMarco. He is founder and editor-in-chief of GayGamer.net, and then also weekend contributor for Kotaku.
Yes.
So, hey, Flynn, great to have you here.
Thanks. It's good to be here.
Unfortunately, he knows the show, so he'll be able to contribute. All right, so coming up on today's show, as usual, in the first segment, we'll be doing What You've Been Playing. And following after that, we have some community stuff. We have really some good topics today from the community. And in the second half, we're going to lead right into a little conversation about whether or not we're ever going to have real maturity in the video gaming space, both as an industry and, all three segments, the industry, the audience, and the actual games that we're playing.
And the podcast.
Well, will we ever have maturity here? No, probably not, right? And then finally, in the news, I've got tons of news stuff. I was pulling dice material right up until the last minute, so we've got everything from the Major League Eating game. I know everyone's excited about that, to... not news. The HD DVD got cheaper. Surprise.
Oh, God, Shane's not here. We can hear about it for 5 minutes about how happy he is about that.
I'm sure he's thrilled, right?
Yeah.
All right, so where should we start off with what you've been playing? I think maybe you want to start?
I'm going to start.
Kick
you know
it.
what? Shane's not here, and he likes to go last, but I'm going to set a precedent going.
He likes to go
now.
last so that he can make sure that nobody's ordering the same thing he is.
Exactly. That's true. I hope people know that, Shane. You can't order what he wants. The same thing if he gets crazy. But last week I talked about MLB 2K8, and I really didn't get a chance to really go into it. And I played all weekend long, and we talked about the pitching mechanics.
Right.
So I want to clarify what I was talking about because it's a little bit more complicated than I thought it was. So basically, they ditched the kind of for a while, MVP introduced this kind of pitching. The pitching meter looked like a golf meter, like in Tiger Woods. So you basically
multi-click.
Multi-click.
Okay, I got you. Multi-click.
And it was great in the beginning, then got old, and everybody's trying these different gimmicks. Now, what 2K8 is doing is almost like a fighting game mechanic. So, you're doing holding back, basically two motions with all the right analog sticks. So you're moving up to down, up, right, half circles, almost like you're playing Street Fighter or something like that. I swear to God. And at first, it's really
back, forward, back, X, Y.
It's not as complicated as that, but it does feel really weird. Now, I hate this. This is terrible. No. And then, about halfway in, it feels really good because it makes you care about pitching again, and it's actually really rewarding when you actually do strike somebody out. It doesn't feel like you're just kind of getting so used to the rhythm and boom. There is an art to it, and actually, what's great is that it always gives you feedback of what the motion you exactly did and how accurate you were.
Now, can I argue with you about that for a minute? Because
you can argue and I'll prove that you're wrong.
What I liked about the 2K system before, which the 2K system before was, it started off with a cursor that you positioned, and then it had a circle that radiated out from that you stopped to determine how much effort you were putting on it.
Okay.
And then when it came back to the center, you stopped it again.
So guess what? It still does that. But all you're doing is the first motion, you hold it till you get to the effort level. Then, when you want to let go and you bring it to that finite point at the very end, that's when you bring the second motion in. It sounds complicated, but with all the feedback they give you of what you're doing right and wrong, it really works well.
See, what I liked about the old system was it had just enough of mechanic to it that I started managing pitches. I realized that if I wanted whoever, Clemens to last in past the 5th inning, I couldn't just be like hurling away right from the outset.
But it's the same thing here. I mean,
but I didn't lose the skill. See, I don't know that I have the. It was still felt like I was playing Roger Clemens, because if I managed to do a simple set of buttons, he still threw an awesome pitch.
Well, I mean,
if I screw this up, he's not going to throw a good pitch.
But here's the thing: it's still in there. I mean, it's still all like they're like the guy, the Santanas of the world are still going to be better off than some schmo on the Royals. But I'm just saying, like,
Royals fan, we don't actually think your pitchers are schmoes.
Yeah, we do. They're terrible. But I'm just saying, like, it just adds it just feels a much more rewarding experience overall for especially pitching.
Right.
Quick thing: batting last year was like they overcomplicated it. They simplified it. Basically, it's all just like pull back and release on the right analog stick. You don't have to worry about power meters and any of that crap. Much simpler. Played really well.
Do you still have to push forward to hit a home run?
No, which is great. So you don't have to ever worry like, oh, did I push far enough? Did I pull back enough? It's just.
And you see, I liked that part, because that was like the difference between swinging
So basically,
for average.
I'm glad you're not reviewing MLB 2K because you are so wrong. But whatever. But the weird thing is that last year's game the presentation was so good.
It was.
This year, it's kind of taken a step back. And like, actually, I just wrote something about this. Like, the player models aren't as accurate as they used to be. Like Big Papi, like, I don't know, the guy going Slim Fast or something like that. Like, he's really skinny. And no joke. The crowd got more excited during a Yankees-Red Sox game that the ball boy caught a play rather than when I hit a home run in like the late innings of a tie game. Okay. That is atrocious. The fact that their atmosphere is like that wonky. And like they started playing Cleveland Rocks in Boston Stadium, Fenway Park, and that wasn't the only instance I caught Cleveland Rock. Hey, I'm a Cleveland fan. Everybody knows I love them, but I don't want to hear it when I'm playing in Anaheim.
Maybe it's just final polish.
No, false.
Maybe.
Yeah. So, but overall, the game, I think gameplay feels right. I just think they lost a little bit in the presentation, but it's still definitely worth playing so far from what I've been playing.
Brian continuing to bring the sporting tip to the
Well, you know what? I wanted to, but I will go a little bit more hardcore, and I finally played Rez.
Oh, good.
Oh, we're all good. We're all up on Rez.
And I know you guys we talked about it a lot.
Oh, we're going to talk about it a lot today.
Okay. Well, I did not play the PS2 game. Like maybe played it like for a level back in the day. Didn't touch it. I know. And I have to say, now I know why you guys love it. I know why Sam gave it a 10. It's totally worth it. My only complaint is it's really not fair. I just want more.
Right.
I'm really disappointed that.
So you did beat it. You got all the way through. Okay.
But I wanted to get. I wanted twice as many levels.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna lie, and I understand because here's the thing: I'm not as a hardcore guy going to be able to get 100% on everything, and I just want to see new levels. I want to hear new beats. I want to do that stuff.
I mean,
I want to hear new beats.
But for a $10 game, did you expect more, or were you just kind of like, yeah, that's about right?
It was about right. But I'll tell you one thing: I totally want a sequel.
Yeah.
I mean, now I know why you guys all say. I feel like I know I'm really late to the party on this one, but like. And it gets better and better and better with every level. And I was like, oh my God, just give me 5 more levels and I'll be really, really happy. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure he's going to make another one. I mean, I think.
Now, I sort of have a complaint about Rez. And I was reminded of it playing this again because I made myself actually play all the way through. And I got back to level 5, which I haven't done in a while. Mm-hmm. And I remembered, oh yeah, that's right. Level 5 is way more awesome than the rest of the game. It's like level 5 is smoking hot. When you're going through the part that, spoilers coming, but it's just Rez. When you're going through the part that has sort of the gray wash tones to it, and the worms are coming up out of the holes, and you're able to like really, really play with how many times you lock on versus how many times you do staccato notes, and you can absolutely play up the beat. It is fully like you are mixing a Adam Freeland song at the same time of playing a video game.
Right.
And that's the part.
That's the beauty of the game.
But it only level 5 is so far above where even level 4 is. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4. You're like, okay, this is cool. I get it. We're going through these, going through these progressions, and it's stepping up.
When the boss of level 4 comes on, that's when you realize, like, okay, yeah, now it's on. This game is awesome.
Yeah, level 4 boss is so awesome. Oh my God,
that's a Running Man.
Yeah,
it's totally the Running Man.
So good.
Yeah, And that's what I love about the game. You know, it's kind of slow when you start, and you get it gets a little bit faster. I mean, that's why I think the whole thing is kind of like it builds and builds every level. But then when you get to 4, and then that boss comes out, and you're like, oh shit, okay, this game is now it's really on. And then you get to level 5, and it's just so kick-ass. Like I love
Exactly.
it.
You know what I thought was weird is that the vibration is actually default off.
Yeah.
I thought
Yeah,
that
I don't know
why.
I thought that was weird because at first I was like, well, that's a freaking big deal, and then I turned it on, and I'm like,
No, but did you do it with the multiple controllers?
I did not shove it down anybody's
Yeah,
pants.
I'm not
or anything
So
like that.
awesome.
No.
Really?
So awesome. Yeah.
Wow. So what? I mean,
Have you tried it?
no, not at all. Tell me
Oh
about
yeah,
it.
no. Actually, I went and had I went down and saw it when they were here, like a few weeks ago,
Right.
and they had all the extra controllers set up, and they put like one behind my back, like I was sitting on a couch, and they had one, and then they put one on the floor, and I put my feet on just the little little things that come out.
I admire
That's far
that they
out.
do that and that they put in. I mean, it just seems crazy. I mean, it was bad enough when they had the vibrator, but like, this
Right.
is like it's just weird to have controllers on your back and
Well, I
down
know.
your hands
I mean,
or whatever.
well,
Like,
that's the thing is it
like-
sounds weird,
Yeah.
but when you're actually doing it, it's insane. And I don't.
Yeah.
I've only got 3, so I did the same thing at home, and talk about making it different. It really does make
Really?
it different. Yeah. Well, I mean, when you're
Just
feeling
imagine someone who doesn't play video games
I
walking in.
can
Got, like,
imagine
3
it's like
controllers.
12:30 at night. My wife wakes up. She's like, "Why the hell do you have controllers on your back and your feet? And why is one on your crotch?" Don't worry about it, hon.
Like,
Go back to
it's
bed.
Rez. Sam gave it a 10. No.
Heck, one of the bosses said, "I gotta play it. You gotta play it just like this."
well, the cool thing about it too is that they don't all vibrate in rhythm. It actually ping pongs back. So like
What?
sometimes
Yeah, that's the whole point of
yeah.
it. Yeah.
They programmed it so that each controller has its own vibration.
Do we have some extra controllers?
That's
No, seriously.
That's cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really amazing. Like I thought, because they wanted to do the trance vibration thing, but they didn't want to create a new peripheral like they did
Right.
last time with the with the vibrator thing. So they needed something that was they wanted to work with something everybody already had, and they're like, well, most people. If you own a game system, you usually have more than one controller. You
Sure.
at least have 2.
Right.
So they, that's how they wanted to create that. And I guess Mitsuguchi was saying that like somebody in the design department, or that was working on the game, just one day was like, "Hey, well, what if we did blah blah blah?" And they all just, what if we had the little vibration? They all loved it. So that's how that happened.
But it's just amazing when I see that game like that. It's like, what was he thinking when he created? Like, it just like sit back and like I'm like, oh my god. I mean, I don't know how you think about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like where it comes from.
I have an idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have an idea because I'm usually there when I was playing it. But
But I mean, it's just it's just absolutely crazy. And I have a question for Sam because I know he's a big Rez fan.
Yeah.
Did Simon really the one that
He came
Yes.
up with the name.
Rez?
that is 100% true.
Because he's a big Underworld fan and
Okay.
their song Rez, and I don't know if it was just because of that. Miz actually talked about it a little bit too. Like it wasn't just because of Underworld or the name of their song, but yeah, like Simon did kind of inspire him.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's the VP of content. Big
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what. If you have 5.1 system, and especially I've talked about it before. I have big speakers at home, not little satellites. Even the stuff that they did a really good 5.1. They didn't do just like a crummy 5.1 where it's
yeah.
across the front channels and a little bit in the back.
Oh,
If you
yeah,
have
it's all
solid
over.
back speakers, you will hear full range in the back. It's pretty freaking impressive. Sam, when you saw Miz or Flynn, did they talk about any potential for adding on with DLC?
No,
said-
actually, no. They said no. They
Yeah,
didn't
they said
want to.
absolutely not.
Yeah.
Why?
No, because it's like a self-contained
It's a
experience. Like you would
Yeah,
not want to
but-
mess with. I mean, even the way the levels are set up and like the progression and everything. Like he was like, "This is the game that I wanted to make. It's perfect as
Okay.
it is." And like and also
What about a PSN version?
Yeah, I think I don't know. He didn't say exactly. I mean, he said it felt right on 360 right now because obviously it's got vibration right now and all that. I mean, I would completely not be surprised if a PS3 version
Right.
came out down the road. But like,
Yeah.
Well, 'cause
right now he's not really talking about it. But
Well, when I talked to them, like my impression of it was they were sufficiently cagey enough with their answers that I think that
Exactly,
it's
yeah,
something that's
yeah.
in that's
And
in the
who
works.
knows? Maybe they're gauging how well this game sells on Cross Arcade to see whether, do we make a real
That could be it,
sequel?
too, yeah.
I mean, it's like a test case almost.
Right, I mean,
it's also like the guys who made it, Hexadrive. I mean, they're like crazy coders and stuff like that. And I'm sure like it's not going to take them that much time to like make it on PS3. So, it's just a matter of time, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Here's a big surprise. 3 or 4 years later, we all still love Rez.
Right.
I'm shocked.
Yeah. No. Oh, so here's
Shock.
the other reason why they didn't want to do any DLC stuff is he said that like if they're gonna spend any time working on Rez, he wants to make it into a new Rez. Like he doesn't want to waste time. Like I mean, because he thinks that there's more that they could do with the hardware nowadays too. Which that would be interesting.
That would be crazy.
That is interesting.
Yeah. So like I mean, because again, like the game in terms of your interaction with the game and the music and all that, that is PS2 Dreamcast era hardware that they're working off of. I mean, the visuals are today's visuals, but in a sense, because it's been all rezzed up and all that. But like, but in terms of like, but in terms of what you could maybe do with today's hardware or tomorrow's hardware, it'd be interesting, like to see what he can do.
I mean, I'll buy that, but I think there's still a ton of
I wish there was
untapped potential for just more tracks in what they have there.
Believe me, I wish there was more.
Seriously, right?
But I also too, if you think, I wouldn't necessarily call it a story-driven game, but there is somewhat of a loose,
right?
Well,
exactly.
I
like something
catch
like
myself
Luminous
just
or
reading
whatever,
things, scrolling down the sides. I'm like, wait, what? And then the boss shows up, and you're like, wait, what does that mean? And then, so I mean,
it's funny because it's a very sort of like Tron-like plot. It's like you're going into the heart of the computer. Which is great, but it does have a beginning and an end. And so I think that making adding stuff into that would be like adding chapters into a book. It's like, well, okay.
So do you guys know people who don't like the game, like friends of yours or anyone who's
I
played
have
it?
not met anybody yet.
See, because I've heard some people say, like, based on my review, they were like, I just don't see it. I don't get it. Like, why did, it's pretty good, but it's not a 10. And then I keep on, the thing I keep stressing to everyone is, though, like, did you play level 5? And a lot of people, there's like, oh, no, I'm still in level 3 or whatever, and I'm like, talk to me after you play level 5.
Yeah.
It really just, that's where the game comes together. And like, even if someone downloaded the demo or whatever,
I have a
that's
question.
not the
Why
game.
make level 5, like, it's so good? Like, if you just get to level, like, why make it that you have to unlock?
I feel like the conversation's come around in a circle now because that's what I was saying a little while ago. And
I think it's okay the way it is. I really do. I mean, it's like a treat at the end. I mean, I love it. I love the progression of the game.
Yeah, agreed.
Maybe it's just all because we love electronica.
Yeah.
I don't know. Brian, did you hook up anything else in the last week or so? Or
No.
That's the keys of it all?
We've been reorging and been done deadlines, so I'm done. That's it. I wish I could play more, but not right now.
Sam, your big thing was Rez, right?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I downloaded the Devil May Cry demo.
Okay.
Yeah, that was
and
fun. It's
first
awesome.
impression?
Yeah, really good. Really good.
You've been playing on 360 or PS3?
Let's see. I downloaded the PS3 one. Yeah.
Sam, he's a Sony guy.
Yeah.
That's why we have him sit in for Shane, of course. He's the surrogate Shane.
Right. I'm loving my Res HD on my PS3. Right.
Awesome.
Oh,
early dev copy. Nothing else? You all good?
Yeah, that's about. I Burnout downloaded the demo of that too.
I got screwed. I didn't even get it. We all, at our game giveaways, I was only one of staff to get one, so I gotta go and go get it.
We'll go to Best Buy together. Which one are you gonna get?
PS3, no doubt.
Really?
Yeah.
All the friends list people are playing 360.
I don't care. I need new friends. I'll get them on my PS3. I want PS3 friends.
All right. I've been playing a lot of DLC. I've been. This is funny. Like you get on Deadline, especially on Magazine Time, and you're playing full games that are sit down stuff. So I've been playing a lot of stuff. So along with Rez, Pixel Junk Monsters, which Shane was kind of slagging on the art style on this. And I mean, has anyone else played it? Have any of you guys played it?
I have not.
I've not played it, but I really want to. I was checking out the screenshots and videos and stuff. It looks great.
You know what? I'm kind of torn on the whole thing now that I've actually played seven levels of it. 7 levels of it. Here's why I'm torn on it. It's because it takes a lot of good ideas, but it mixes them with one that I don't like as much in the style. And everyone gets upset when you talk about desktop tower defense because that really wasn't the first of these sorts of games. But it's the one that everybody knows. And the thing about desktop tower defense that's different is that part of the fun of the game is that all these games involve a very simple principle. You get to lay out defenses and a stream of enemies come at your defenses and they have different properties that you're trying to counter, rock, paper, scissors sort of thing, right? So if you got flying guys, you're using anti-aircraft guns. If you got slow, ponderous guys, you're using heavy cannons. And if you've got fast guys, you're using, machine guns, something that fires more rapidly. The difference is that desktop tower defense uses a set landscape each time, and you can only put your defensive measures in certain spots, in the spots where there are trees in this case. Whereas in Desktop Tower Defense, you're free to lay out whatever pattern you want, and that's part of the strategy is how you lay out your pattern. Whereas this game wants you to look at each level as a sort of puzzle, and then figure out, to solve this puzzle, I need to put this sort of tower here and this sort of tower there to stop these attacks as they come. So, I mean, that's kind of a trade-off. Depends on how you want to approach it. Mm-hmm. The part that I like that they did is that they traded off the economy system. So what's happening is as you're killing these enemy waves as they come at you, you're making money, and you're also making gems. And the money will let you buy new towers, and the gems let you do upgrades. So you're kind of trading off between these two sides, and you also have to spend your time in different places. Your little dude can go and stand on a tower and upgrade it, or he can be going and building new towers and taking care of your collecting all the coins. So you're balancing running around, how you lay out your stuff, and trying to protect yourself, your home base, from the onslaught of guys getting to it. It's kind of cerebral. I mean,
do you have to invest a lot of time into it though? Like, I mean, you're saying you're playing this in your free time while you're on deadlines.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to. That's just it. You don't have to invest a lot of time in each individual level, and I think that's a big part of the appeal, right? Okay. Is that you can sit down, play a level. It's very engrossing. Mm-hmm. It's very thoughtful. It really gets you engaged, but it takes half an hour, maybe, so you can play it in bite-sized chunks.
Right. Would you recommend I check it out, or?
I don't know. Have you ever played any of those?
Not really.
I think the thing that for most people will be appealing about it at first is that it'll engage them mentally, and then the progression of it will be eventually. I think a lot of people it won't wear well. Is that what'll happen is they'll start to play it and they'll go, okay, well the same thing's happening, and I just have to add new towers, and yeah, okay, I've done this, and it's an interesting pace because it's as much you running around and setting stuff up and then watching what happens as it is being engaged in it. And I think most of the games that we play, we're engaged in the action, there's an immediacy to them, and the immediacy here is in spots. You might be struggling at the very end to try and save your last few guys and trying, you have your little guy over upgrading a tower as fast as you can, but then there's just as many times where you're sitting there on your couch just kind of watching, which a lot of people will like because it's a very laid back pace and you can just enjoy the game as it comes to you. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not completely. I think as Desktop Tower Defense, as a free game on the PC, it's cool. As a pay game on PlayStation Network, I'm not as sold on it anymore.
Right.
I think I'll pass after that conversation.
Yeah. What you shouldn't pass on though.
Sounds so thrilling.
The one you shouldn't pass on is Poker Smash. That game is freaking awesome.
Oh yeah.
Did you? So you played Puzzle League?
Yeah, I mean, I've been David Ellis, game videos, have been playing it like a ton. I mean, and I see Shu every 5 seconds going in there and playing it like he's like supposed to be, finishing the magazine, and I see him sneaking in a couple of games of Poker Smash.
Wait, is it the same thing?
It's
like
essentially.
Okay. Okay, so Planet Puzzle League is another columns of colored blocks game where anytime you connect three or more colors together, they break, right? Okay, so now wipe that slate, and instead of colors, put face cards on there and make poker hands.
Oh, okay.
So you can
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So my brain really, my brain broke
tonight.
I mean, my brain really broke trying to play this because the first part, like Planet Puzzle League, the hardest part is to think you can only move boxes horizontally, but you have to think vertically and horizontally. So you're thinking about, if I move this will fall, that'll line up. Okay, so as soon as you can get thinking horizontally and vertically, all you have to worry about in Planet Puzzle League is colors.
Yep.
In this game, you have to worry about suits, because you can do flushes if you can get 5 together. Kinds, which would be like the colors, so 3 aces, 3 kings, 3 tens, and runs. So you can do 10, jack, queen, king, ace.
That's cool.
Wow. Shit, I'm getting that tonight.
Yeah, I think it's out now.
It's out. It's 800 points. It's up on Xbox Live, and then it has other tweaks as well. So it has other tweaks, which are you can use the triggers to do a slowdown. So that's kind of cool, because my one complaint about these games is as they get later on into as they start to progress, they start going too fast. It's like you start to get the idea and you're just getting the hang of the way the game's working, but once the speed ramps up, it ramps up too fast, right? It gets to the point where you're getting the idea of, okay, if I do this and this and this and this together, I can make this and this and this combo. But by the time you've got that together, it's scrolling up from the bottom so fast that you can't really keep up with it anymore. So it's got a slowdown, which is just like it's like Fear. It's like like the Fear game where in the first-person shooter you have a slow-mo.
Did you just compare Poker Smash to Fear?
Because it has that slow-mo. What other game has slow-mo like that? I mean, I guess Max Payne, same sort of deal, right?
Matrix.
And then it also has a bomb, and the bomb is cool because your bombs replenish over time. And so if you have like a combo, you can set up combos, and instead of having to move stuff, you can drop a bomb. And when you drop a bomb, it also stops the scroll from the bottom. So, very cool. Poker Smash is awesome, and major bonus points to the developer for doing gamer picks for your Xbox Live that you earn by making poker money in the game.
That's awesome.
Wow. Who's the developer anyway? Anyone we know?
Who is the developer? Do we know? Andrew?
Andrew should know this. Sorry, Poker Smash people. Apologize, but
We love you. We'll have
like
a
your
correction
yes.
for you someplace.
I don't know.
Anyway,
I'll play it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, at least we're calling it out.
there you go. Flynn, I'm turning it over to you.
Oh, all right. Well, let's see. Obviously, besides the marathon res sessions, I've been playing Culdcept Saga, which I'm really, I'm a former Magic nerd. I have to admit that there, but so I'm like, now everyone knows.
You're among friends. It's okay.
Yeah. But so I already have a sort of a enjoyment of card battle type games, but I have to say, like, when I first fired it up, I was kind of like, I don't know about this, and it seemed a little maybe like overly complicated. But then I actually started getting really into it, and I could probably do without the storyline bits and just like do the battling, which is cool. And the illustrations that they have for the cards are great. My only real complaints are that the battles take far too long. I mean, each one is between like 40 and 50 minutes. And I really
Shane's Shane's solution to this game, right?
No,
Will you just keep a copy of Entertainment Weekly handy while you're playing the game?
I'm sorry, that's just not acceptable. The fact that's just way too much time.
And it's completely true. I actually sat there watching him playing this game reading Entertainment Weekly and enjoying both of them.
I watched him and Nick play against each. I mean, I saw them in the office, and he'd be like writing an article, do a move, write an article, write and do moves.
Checking TMZ, whatever.
Oh yeah, the Project Runway, highlights of the week or something. What's the gossip?
But yeah, the battles last way too long. There's no need for that sort of And it's weird because I've been playing the single player mode, and every single battle is about the same length. It's very strange. I don't know with a card battle game how you could really adjust how long it lasts, because it's really all about luck and what cards you draw,
right?
And how you play.
How smart's the PC? How smart is the AI? Does it give you a good game?
Yeah. Well, I had to play I think 3 different times through before I finally got past the very first one. And then the rest of them I kind of beat them pretty easily. But now I've gotten to a point where I'm playing against 2 other AI characters. And here's another really irritating thing. You're playing against 2 other AI characters, and if those 2 characters go into battle, you have to sit and watch.
Are you fucking kidding me?
You have to watch them. Yeah, I was all like, come on now.
Yeah.
Wow.
And there's no way to skip it. I'm pressing every button. I'm like, come on, something's got to... If I mash them all at the same time, maybe...
So you're watching every single turn play out in...
Yes.
That's fun.
Yeah.
That right there is awesome.
So that was it. And then I was a little disappointed in the fact that I was looking forward to some Eye of Judgment type 3D monster battles. I'm waiting to see my ghoul fight the the goblin, and I want to see I want to see some Star Wars 3D
you
chess
better see that
action.
shit after waiting for AI battles.
Yeah, no, you get the cards come up side by side, and then if it's so say you have a knight who's fighting another guy, then this sort of disembodied sword comes in from the side and goes whoosh, and slashes through the card.
Card slash.
Yes, exactly. It's a little, and if it's you have giant birds and a big claw comes down so it was but those things aside, and I think honestly though, I think those things are minor in comparison to the actual the actual playing of the game is fun. I really enjoyed it. I'm actually looking forward to playing against a human,
The
opponent.
consensus seems to be that if you're into this sort of game, that the core game is there, but it still has these little elements that distract you and detract from the experience, like you were talking about having to sit there and watch the AI go through moves.
Yeah, that's painful.
Hey, Entertainment Weekly is really psyched about this game. Their readership has just gone through the roof.
It's also excellent for Hollywood Video because they're always pushing those on you, right? It's like,
right.
would you like in a subscription? No.
Yeah, I got Cult of Saga tonight, so yeah, sure, why not? Give me one. Boom.
Well, but I shouldn't. But seriously, like if you're a fan of those types of games, it's a really solid title.
All right,
it's really good. So then I've been playing Devil May Cry. Picked it up yesterday.
Excellent.
Been
Which
playing
version
quite a
did you
bit.
get?
I got the 360
Okay.
version, just because well, here's another sad admission, but I've turned into a total achievement whore.
Oh,
We've
God.
all been there.
Terrible.
I've been there. I've had that.
I think everybody goes through phases.
Yeah,
Hey, if
I'm
you want,
over that now,
I got a
but-
360 copy of Spiderwick Chronicles you can buy. There's 1,000 points there for you, bro.
Well, it's funny, one time I made fun of Shu, my boss, forever about the achievement, and then I'm like, I'm gonna go offline for like a month, and I just basically got all these achievements so one day I could jump online and have way more than him, and every day I would monitor how he was doing to see how many I would find all these games like I can get like 1,000 achievement points like a minute, and then he didn't get really upset that I was higher than him, and I was like, I did all that for nothing. no payoff, and then I went back and I didn't do anything, and then he got a little bit above me again, and then I said, oh man, I think I'm gonna do it, and then I was like, screw it.
Friends don't let friends do achievements.
Well, it's embarrassing, but yeah, I'm in my phase. Like I'm in my achievement points phase.
So you could have pulled off the Devil May Cry thing. You said, I wanted to play it with Rumble.
Yeah, well, there you go. Sure.
You could have just pulled that card.
Can you just edit that last part? All right, good. No, so actually, what was really funny about like achievement points? I did this. I did an interview with Trixie over at the Xbox. They did a community spotlight on Gay Gamer, and she was talking to me, and I got like a ton of emails from people. Some great, some not so great. And this one guy emails me, and he's like, "I can't believe your gamer score is so low. I'm 19 years old, and I've already got a 20 billion points. You really suck." And so I wrote back, and I was like, "Well, at 19, I'm sure you have lots of spare time, but I actually have a job and a life and things to do." So
damn.
But I know I felt bad. So now here I am. See, I sent him a saucy reply, and now I'm just falling into the trap.
Yep.
But yeah, so I picked it up for 360, been checking it out, and I really am really liking it a lot. Like I really think they took like all of the things that really worked in the different versions and sort of like put them back, and it really feels like, in a way too, like I think the fourth game of a series always
pivotal moment.
with some exceptions. Silent Hill.
Shane would be very upset right now. Silent Hill fan.
But I'm huge fan. But
okay.
Come on.
Yeah. Are you Silent Hill fan?
No, not a huge fan.
I'm a
but
huge
I know-
fan.
Was For the Room?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But see, but I think a lot of times though, if they're playing it smart, if like the second and third games weren't as great, then they'll take the fourth game to kind of go back and draw on all of the things that were really good.
I
about
hope
the
that
series.
happens with Metal Gear. If number 4 is
Yeah,
I'll be a happy boy.
So, but see, like Silent Hill Origins, I thought was great. Like,
So what are the
I really
pieces you
liked
think that they took that really work in this amalgamation in Devil May Cry 4?
Oh, jeez. Well,
Thing you like the most out of what they put together?
Right. Well, I think they got back to a battle system, or like a fighting system that seems a little bit easier to handle. It doesn't seem so heavy. Like it seems, you're still trying to get these like stylish points and work out these really great combos, and it seems like it's just a little bit easier to create those combos than it got. Like it seems like that by like the second or third game, it just got really cumbersome. It was like, oh god, I have to press 56 buttons at once and be going back and forward in the whole.
If you were double jointed, you were set, but otherwise you were in trouble.
Right. If you could play with your feet, you would, and your hands. You'd be great,
I reviewed Devil May Cry for us, and my biggest problem with this series has been like it's up and down. It's too easy. It's too hard. It's unbalanced. It's like, but this one I feel like it's like it just gets it just right with the difficulty and like when you play as Dante, you can switch between the styles on the fly. So like if you are like really good at these types of games, you can make yourself look pretty awesome. But even if you're like an average gamer, you can kind of pull some cool shit off. Which I like. My only problem with the game was that the recycling of bosses and areas and stuff. That is and I hope I didn't spoil that for you.
No,
Okay.
I know what you're talking about.
It's just the bosses they have are so good. I was just almost like Rez. I wanted more diversity. Just too much recycling at the end.
For the listeners who are wondering why I haven't gotten to it yet, it's part of my whole way of not getting worn out on games, which is I'm finishing games, and Yakuza has to get finished for me before I can start.
Really? You went back?
What? Yeah, you did. Yeah, we talked about Yakuza, right?
I forget which podcast I was on when we talked about it.
Dude, Yakuza, I have to finish it. I'm getting close. To the end. I have to finish it before I can let myself put in another time investment game. That's the beauty of all those little chunk games I'm playing. I can sit down and play a chunk here and a chunk there, and it's awesome. And then when I have time, I'll play some Yakuza. This weekend, I'm finishing Yakuza and getting on to Devil May Cry 4.
Well, what's funny about Devil May Cry 4 too is I remember when we first saw it. I saw it last year or whatever, and I was like, "Why did you choose another guy who looks exactly like the last guy?"
Right,
I'm like, what's the difference?
Yeah.
Like, is he blonder? Like, is he even more metrosexual? Like, what's the deal? Like, where's the deal here? And I have to say though, it's funny when I actually started playing the game and you see them side by side. It's like fraternal twins. Like, if you see them separately, you're like, oh my God, they're identical. But then when you see them next to each other, you're like, oh, okay.
And I actually really liked Nero. I thought he was a great character. And I actually like what he brings to the game, and I hope that the next game, which there's going to be, that has him in there. Because I like his mechanics. I like the Devil Bringer. I think it added a lot. And it was weird. I would play as Nero, and it was disappointing when I got taken away, and then I was like, okay, Dante's cool, and then Dante's really, really cool, and then they take him away, and then they bring back Nero. So they did a good job of ramping it up.
That's cool.
And I actually never got to say that in my review, which I was disappointed. But they do a good job of you're a little bit disappointed at first, but then it's like, oh no, this guy's really awesome. Bringing another guy, really awesome.
And Dante, he's got stubble. That's how you can tell him apart. Dante's got stubble. The other guy doesn't.
How long does it take to get through the game?
Oh God! Well, I was really sick when I played this game, so my time, how long it took.
Just give me a rough call. I have a problem. You see, Lost Odyssey comes in next week, and I have to get.
You play Devil May Cry before Lost Odyssey?
No, I have to play. I have to play Lost Odyssey.
Go ahead. Go ahead and spend your time reading books all day. No problem.
Whatever.
Do one battle per hour.
What? I'm impervious to your hate because I saw Shane playing it. I saw Fitch playing it. I talked about it with Fitch last night, and that is so my cup of tea.
I heard the second disc is much better than the first.
Great characters, interesting battle system, classic Japanese RPG. Are you freaking kidding me? I'll be worshiping at that altar for weeks.
Wow. We'll see.
4 hours.
Whatever.
I just want to know how many of those little vignettes you're going to read before you start saying, "Oh, it's not worth it anymore."
Dude, I read them in Mass Effect. Why would I not read them here?
Oh, all right.
Why is everybody so ready to stick the knife in the back of Sakaguchi-san?
I'm not at all. I liked Blue Dragon. I thought Blue Dragon was good. I did. I enjoyed it. So I'm looking forward to
props for that. Props for that.
That's nice.
Yeah. So, all right. I don't hate.
All right.
And I've liked it. I think the trailers so far have been good. But then I watched some people play it, and they're not doing anything. They're reading. And I'll get a book.
Reading is.
Reading
is fundamental.
Whatever.
Read or die.
Whatever. Go. I don't want to start this.
Lynn, you want to throw anything else out there, or should we take it to the break? What do you think?
No, that's pretty much all. Although I did want to say one more thing about.
Sure.
Did you actually watch the opening cinema for Devil May Cry 4?
Oh yeah.
I thought it was really great.
I thought it was the choreography and everything was pretty unbelievable.
It was, and I love the fact that because if you're a fan of the series and you played them all, about the extremely aggro soundtrack. Everything's all like death speed metal crazy.
Yeah.
And then for the opening cinema of this, they used an operatic piece in juxtaposition with everything else that was going on, and it was really effective.
I have to say overall, I think Capcom this generation has done an unbelievable job.
Well, this is a different team that did the past ones anyway.
Yeah,
right?
this is
totally
different. Yeah, but I'm just saying overall, from the Dead Rising to, this to Lost Planet in some ways. Mm-hmm. Now we've heard about Street Fighter and We've all seen the Resident Evil 5 trailer. Like,
Yep. Yeah.
God, they're kicking
they are
butt,
doing
man.
well.
And then
Yeah.
Bionic Commando, the downloadable, and then the new, I don't know about the new game, but the downloadable game looks awesome. So
Yeah.
Looking good.
it looks awesome, man. I mean, props to Capcom. As long as they make that Dead Rising 2, I want.
Yes, I'm
All
right
right.
there with you.
Sorry,
There
I had
you-
to say it again this week.
That's good.
Amusement park setting, please.
Make it so. Link to Legend 2, get ready because when we come back, we're reading your post from the boards. First, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Killer apps, useful utilities, quirky undiscovered websites, brilliant life-changing software. You'll find it on AppScout.com from the editors of PC Magazine. Remember, your hardware is only as good as the apps running on it. AppScout.com, stalking the killer app.
All right, and we're back and ready to hit it. And before we do, the wonderful and talented Andrew Pfister has brought to my attention that the developer for Poker Smash is Void Star Creations.
I just used the internet.
There you go. propers to Void Star Creations. Good work, fellas and ladies. So on to the message boards at boards.oneup.com. We'll kick it off with Link the Legend 2, who, what'd you say about him, Ryan?
He's on every message board, man. When I do EGM Live, he's always got a question out there.
Blowing
so
up.
He's blowing up.
Blowing up. So what he threw out there for this time is, what are the most annoying game enemies and why? And he kicked it off with Eagles in Ninja Gaiden NES, since they flew at insane speeds and came out of nowhere. Medusa heads in Castlevania, since they come fast and in groups.
Oh, man. That's a good question.
And the second he hit that, Sam was
I know. Yeah, it's totally right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Fuck
absolutely.
those.
I hate those
them.
things.
Yeah. What
And,
else? What else?
he also has the Hammer Bros in the Brothers in the Super Mario Bros.
Yeah.
Because you were
This-
screwed if
that's
you
a
didn't
It's
have
pretty
it.
much anything
question.
projectile or like things that fly at you. I mean,
Yeah.
those are the worst enemies. Always.
You guys. Now, while you're thinking, I'm going to give you some of the ones that they've got some suggestions. But when we get to the end here, you got to be ready. Okay,
God, now I'm nervous.
So Brig Hat was the most annoying characters in video games are the likes of J and 2P from Final Fight, and their clones in other side-scrolling fighters. I don't know. What do you think? I mean, Andrew, you included that one. What do you?
It's the guys who fight who get you from behind.
Oh, the guys who get you from behind. All right. Final Fight. I don't know.
That wasn't that tough.
I would say for me it's any fight where like you're fighting this big boss and he's got little fucking cronies hitting you on your ankles. Where
Oh,
you're-
God,
it's
yeah,
like one of
those
those
are
things.
horrible.
It's like that's like a game. It's not just any game. It's like a lot of games do that. Just when there's like these little things that are just whacking at you while you're worrying about the big guy.
Ugly Drunk pulled out one that will definitely ring true with old school PC gamers, and this is from the old XCOM game. Which, by the way, XCOM would be an awesome game to show up somewhere on downloadable content. Like on 360, hint, nudge, wink. Anyway, he thinks the name of them was the Cyclids. Anyway, they're the enemies that would turn your soldiers into zombies. So that was actually really screwed you up very bad. But Choco Moog 33 has my favorite, which is the freaking Marlboros in Final Fantasy. Oh my God! How many? Yeah. Seriously, come on.
Actually, we were speaking of Devil May Cry 4. There's one enemy in Devil May Cry 4 that's really annoying. It's like they're floating, and he's got like these huge red fingernails that come out of nowhere. It takes forever to kill
right.
him.
I know what you're talking about.
And like you have to like just keep whacking at him, and it's really really annoying. And you really can't hit him for like 10 seconds.
This is actually a great.
Can't remember the
I
names.
love his rant, dude. His rant is awesome. Here's the rant. The reason you need the ribbons, the reason you have to fear equipping stat boosting items and accessories, the reason you have to customize entirely separate suits of armor in Final Fantasy X just in case you run into one, the reason forgettable statuses like sap and poison and gradual petrify become forgettable because this motherfucker can give them all at once. The choice is easy for me. And he has a big picture of Marlboro. In any Final Fantasy they appear in, I hate them. I don't care how cool they are. I hate them. Even the one with the mustache in Final Fantasy 12. Fuck him and fuck all of them.
Damn.
Wow.
Damn.
That was an awesome
I think
rant.
anything that poisons you is a pitch too.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
an
yeah.
annoying little
Yeah.
habit.
Oh, that's pretty awesome.
That was a lovely dramatic reading.
I
Yeah,
know.
that
I know.
was good. Fuck that motherfucker.
Budrix got in on the act as well with the an article from Nicole on GameGirl.com that Zubat should win for every reason listed. There's and Jesus, are we going to go through all the reasons you think we should? How many reasons? We'll throw some out there. Security bot. What's a security bot from? Those security bots in BioShock?
Yeah.
They're annoying.
They're annoying. I didn't think they were that bad. Did you think they were that bad?
Well, it's only really bad if they gang up on you. Like if you start getting more than like if you can't find a place to hide, you're screwed.
Zubat's a Pokemon reference. I mean, and Zubat's annoying. I don't know. These are sort of like more like poke you in the butt annoying ones more than bad ones. What do you think?
I was just thinking I played through
The Flood from Halo.
What about the freaking little in Half-Life 2, the little freaking crabs that they suck all your energy. They hit you once or something like that. I mean, what do they call? I mean, I don't know. They're annoying as shit.
I don't actually know this one. What's this one, Andrew? Lambent Wretches?
Oh, from Gears.
From Gear. Oh, those are the things.
Explode at you.
The things. God.
Yeah.
Actually, that wins right there.
Yeah.
That actually wins. I hated those fucking exploding things in
Yeah,
Gears.
but like you didn't have to deal with them that much.
You didn't have to explain it, but you know what? They were annoying as hell. They were the most annoying game enemy I can think of. Actually, that's a good catch. That's a really good catch. All right, next one is MacDaw's.
Good question.
That is a good question.
Excellent question.
So, by the way, you guys,
good job.
most annoying.
Well, I mean,
I think I said a
most
bunch
annoying
of
game
them.
enemies.
Yeah, I mean enemies that make you like. I mean, I was just when you mentioned the Medusa heads from Castlevania, like other enemies in Castlevania and other games too, is like when you have to like duck down and then go up or whatever. What are the ones that shoot the fire at you or whatever in Castlevania or whatever the little statues or whatever, and then sometimes the knights too, where they'll throw.
They throw the little axes.
Yeah,
that roll.
but stuff like that in games too. I always get thrown off sometimes when I have to like duck down and then I have to go back up and then hit them on that. Yeah,
and
whatever.
it's like how dare they make it challenging?
Yeah, I know. Fuck it.
I just want to finish it.
Well, also, like,
I need that achievement.
Oh, you know,
achievement points.
anytime they're an enemy that you think you beat it and then it comes back to life or whatever, that's annoying.
That's so
Especially
annoying.
bosses, you know.
Or another form.
Yeah.
Yeah, here we go. And another form. And another form. And
Oh my God, Jekt from Final Fantasy X. Jesus God.
Now Final Fantasies, I think, are the most like egregious violators of that. Like if you played any of the like Kingdom Hearts games, like the
watch your mouth. Watch your mouth. Watch your mouth.
Brian, have you played any Kingdom Hearts games?
Possibly.
No, I am a huge fan.
Okay.
Huge fan.
Oh, they're buddies now.
I almost got a heart attack going on there.
No, you can put your knife away.
Okay,
it's all good.
good.
No, I'm a huge fan, but seriously, like that last boss battle, it had like 18 different forms
from the first game. Yeah, that was
like,
ridiculous.
is that really necessary?
Yeah,
Is that really necessary?
I actually put the game away for 6 months because I got stuck on that part. I was like, this sucks, and then I went back and finally finished it. But yeah.
Oh, Vagrant Story. Vagrant Story only because the whole system of combat in the game, which is so dependent on crafting and building up weapon affinities to different monster types, leaves you screwed halfway into the game if you don't know what you're building for. In other words, like, did any of you play Vagrant Story?
Very little.
Okay, so anyway, it had this long.
I just remember it for some reason. Like everybody, like Famitsu gave it like this unbelievable score. That's all I can remember about it.
Oh yeah,
it is amazing.
Perfect score.
Yeah.
But I got halfway through it and had to restart the whole game because I hadn't crafted my weapons and developed their affinities the right way.
That's the worst when you've like any game.
And I was
like,
literally
you don't do everything,
over halfway
like,
in.
Yeah, that's the worst when you're like, okay, nope, you got to go back 5 hours and do all that.
It
stuff
wasn't
over
back
it.
5 hours. It was I really just I was like because I was doing incremental saves, so I didn't have a save far enough back to save my ass, so I had to actually go back, start over all the way. Yeah. Anyway. MacDaw asked, does anyone else get gamer fatigue? And so I wanted to 2 points about this. First, does anyone else get gamer fatigue is a thread that you should get into because it doesn't have enough responses in it yet. And it's an interesting point because when you first read it, you're probably thinking, oh, do you get burned out on games? But that's not exactly what he's talking about. He says, for instance, I'll be playing Warhawk and doing well for about 5 to 6 rounds, and then I'll start getting owned. Who knows, maybe it's boredom. Another instance is when you're playing a game and you try several times to beat a certain boss after playing for a lengthy period of time, but you can't. So you end up putting the game down just to pick it up the next day and beat it on the first try.
Yeah.
So
that's
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Totally.
happens
I mean,
all the
I think
time.
that happens to all of us. I mean,
Gamer
especially-
fatigue?
And the thing is, for us, when we're like on a time crunch, it's like and then you start to get, I gotta finish this. I'm nervous. I gotta finish it, and then you're like I can't put it down. No, there's no time to put it down. But you.
Call of Duty 4.
Oh God.
Oh,
Call of Duty
I remember
4.
you guys like. when you
Oh
were
my
playing that.
God! I thought it was gonna.
Jesus, I've never heard so much yelling in
Dude,
the office.
I was kicking the cabinet so hard I thought my foot was gonna break. I was so mad at that game.
It gets when you're on deadline. It's scary, man. Sometimes, like I'll never forget Crispin Boyer, one of our executive editors. It's just me and him in the office. Deadline. We're reviewing God of War, and he got stuck at the very end for some. He was playing on one of the harder difficulties, and Crispin's a small guy, but he's one of the scariest mofos when he does not like a game. And I'm like, he's screaming in the demo room, and like the cleaning lady's going like, "Oh my God, she doesn't speak a word of English." She's just like crossing herself, and like it gets to be frightening, and it gets to be. Ugh. Yeah,
Flynn,
but we
gamer
get tired.
fatigue? What do you think?
Yeah, it happens. I mean, it happens to me often. Yeah, I mean, I've definitely had that thing where you try to beat a boss and you try and it doesn't happen, and literally you go back a few days later, pick it up, and bam, like right off the bat.
Yeah, I think it did just as recently as when I was reviewing Devil May Cry 4.
Yeah, I did the same thing. And it's really funny that kind of goes along with that too. Is I think that a lot of times they're constructed that way, and the reason that I say that is because I remember back when I played the very first Resident Evil game, and there's the giant snake that comes out of the attic, and I remember I was playing that, and a friend of mine who's a complete non-gamer was sitting there, and I was just playing it, couldn't beat it. I was like, this is driving me crazy. I can't kill this gigantic snake. And he's like, it's that music. It's that music. It's because it's all like,
No, totally.
He's like, it's that music. Like, turn the music down. I turned the music down and got it on the first go.
That's crazy. Oh my God.
It was really weird. But I do I do certainly go through times where I just like, okay, I've been playing this so long, my fingers are hurting, my brain is fried, and I can't
and you'll just like slowly get closer and closer and closer, and it's like, okay, quarter of life left. And then you get the 3 rounds of like you just came really close, and then you're back to like, okay, you lose after 1 hit.
Yeah. That totally
That's
happens.
the worst. It's
you're
like,
like, okay, I'm getting closer. It's gonna be next time. Okay, I'm getting closer. It's gonna be next time. It's gonna be next time. And then you're like, oh shit, now I'm like back where I started from. What the hell?
Like, what's going on? Yeah.
You know what game I had the most of that phenomenon of getting stuck, beating my brains in, finally setting it down, then coming back the next time and being able to like beat stuff is Mario Sunshine. Sunshine really? Yeah.
Oh, no, I could see that.
Sunshine was really like that for
yeah.
me.
Yeah.
And it's because and I brought that up because I'm betting that a lot of people have that sensation with Mario games in general. Northern Gamer actually brought up another Mario game and said that this happened to me a few times in different games, most recent being Super Mario Galaxy on the Bouldergeist Daredevil run. It was pretty sad. I must have tried 20 times to beat him. Finally, I just turned off the game in frustration, and the next day, I beat him on my 3rd try.
Yeah.
But like he said, I think they are sometimes built like that. It's built for like trial and just keep going, and then all of a sudden you get that satisfaction a little bit. I mean,
there is a good sense of satisfaction when you do go back and get it.
Yeah.
Well, have you guys ever just? I'm sure you have. We've all been playing for so long, but like just like an epic battle that literally, like when I played Twilight Princess, final boss battle, I was down to a quarter of a heart, and then beat him.
Really?
Like it was epic. I mean, like talking about.
I think for
epic,
me
like,
it was
insane.
when I reviewed MGS3, the end. That old fart just sitting there, and like he's like moving all around the jungle, and I gotta track him and find him, and he's hiding, and you listen for him breathing, and you're down to like and like after a while he'll find you and come behind you and like basically knock you out, and like sometimes it's 45 minutes you've invested. And when I reviewed it at that time, because we had the exclusive review at that point, the game was actually harder than they ended up being. So like, and I'm sitting there, and Mark McDonald's in the one room, Shane's in the other room. They had just gotten there before me, and I'm like, oh God, I got to catch up, and I'm freaking out.
When I was playing Uncharted recently, and the last boss too, like I didn't know what I was supposed to do at first, and I was getting really frustrated.
Right.
Put it down or whatever, and then I came back and I was like, I beat it right away or whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't. Whatever.
Can I? I mean, not to like go off topic.
Oh,
really quick,
go for it.
But I really think, and I'm actually getting ready to write something about this. I really think Uncharted was like the most overlooked game of last year.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think the
loved
combat needed a little bit more work, but overall between the story and the graphics and the settings, unbelievable.
It was just so fun, and I just think
I got so hooked by it though. Like
Yeah.
I just like I
Yeah,
hadn't been
You
so
forgave
hooked
the
by it.
combat, some
Yeah.
of the combat problems.
Oh
Like,
yeah, it was.
alright.
I was like playing it. I'm like, this is not that good, but I'm loving it.
Yeah.
Like,
It
I
had a really good
like
flow
the
to
combat
it.
just was like
unbelievable.
yeah.
It had a really good flow and pace to it. You know, that was one of its hallmarks,
Yeah.
was that it kept you playing it. Even though, I mean, there are parts of it that are very, very formulaic, where, you know, there are guys
You
pouring.
walk in and then boom, they 4 or 5 guys come and shoot
Right.
this guy, that guy, that boom, boom, and then go ahead.
Right. I mean, this was interesting. I mean, I was down looking at Tomb Raider the other day, and they're playing back through Uncharted simply to take a look at what it did and how it's. I mean, this is something this very people do,
Yeah,
right?
good.
Because this is a touchstone, and interestingly, they're playing through it for one of the reasons is because they don't want to do that. They don't want to be that. They want to differentiate Lara. They want Lara to be, you know, her own person set apart from that and being more of the Tomb Raider, right? Because there are parts of it that are very formulaic. I mean, it's an epic adventure, but there are parts of Uncharted where there are guys spawning from spawn points.
But they're also their inspiration was all the Indiana Jones and all
Right.
those like adventures. Like
Right.
they very obvious. They'll say Naughty Dog will say these are our inspiration. We took a lot from this, where it's like an homage a little bit. You know, I mean.
I think it's cool though that we're building this large of a library of solid games that people can play and while they're thinking about what they want to do when they're designing games and draw on that history. I mean, movie developers have been doing this for decades, right? I mean, it's not like a great director doesn't sit down knowing the history of Casablanca or whatever else touchstone that they have, and that figures into what they do. And this is great because we're building that legacy. It's good stuff.
Yeah. I just remember like I got the game in the mail and put it in, and I literally just couldn't stop playing it.
Yep.
I was
the same way.
And I went to bed and woke up wanting to play more. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I found myself one night playing it at 4 a.m, and I was like, oh shit, this is kind of a good game.
Yeah. But yeah, I just think it's a shame that not. I just think it should have gotten a lot more attention.
It should have. No, you'll get no argument. It should have.
Yeah, and I think I think that it was just like. In my opinion, there's like 3 things that led to it not being as like widely popular as it could have been. First of all, I don't think it was marketed as well as it could have been.
It wasn't. Heavenly Sword was the poster child for PS3.
Right, and
period.
It's you know, I think if they would.
What do you mean? No,
I don't know.
I don't know
I saw
that.
plenty of commercials
Yeah,
for it, but
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know
see,
that.
I think Heavenly Sword had our spotlights more than Uncharted.
I have to agree. Like everybody was
Really?
all up in arms about, you know, Heavenly Sword. But then when Uncharted came out, it was almost. I mean, I don't want to say under the radar, but it certainly didn't
wasn't
get
under
the
the
kind
radar.
of. It didn't get the kind of attention that
I
Heavenly
think the
Sword
problem
got.
is that is games like Call of Duty just wiped it. Like,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
so many people are just that's what they want. They want the obvious, great looking shooter that they can play with their friends, and I think it's sad that people don't appreciate the.
Okay, well, then
it's
let me
new
throw a
IP.
counter.
It's a new IP too.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
Like,
So
you know,
it's
Let me
uphill
throw a
battle
counter
right there.
question.
yeah.
What would Uncharted have done if it had released on 360?
Yeah, see, now that was that was my other.
No,
point.
what, I mean, don't
Maybe,
yeah me.
but
No,
no,
yeah,
no,
let me answer.
I'm thinking.
That's a good
I'm
point,
thinking.
but I mean, still look when it came out. I mean, there was
November,
same problem.
Right.
There's so many other good
Well,
games
see,
at
that
the
was
time,
my
and so
those were
much-
my other 2 points. I was like, I think first of all, I don't think it was marketed well enough.
Yeah.
Second of all, I think that it came out at a time when there was so much other like
Assassin's Creed,
crazy stuff
Right.
coming
Duty,
out.
Rock
right.
Band.
You know, and then third, I will probably get reamed for saying this, but I just don't think that like the PS3 is saturated in the market enough for it to have sold
No
as
disagreement.
many
Yeah,
copies.
yeah.
Which is what I think. Like, if you're saying how would it have done if it was on 360, I think it would have really. We would have seen a lot more about it.
But haven't the sales of Uncharted gone up quite a bit, like in the following
Yeah,
months?
it definitely
like-
has. But still, again, you don't hear about it much anymore. Like, sales may have gone up,
Right.
but you don't hear.
But
a
I wonder
lot
if that's
about it.
similar to like.
Well,
Jack,
come on, that's because
when
we.
that
What
came
bothers
out,
me
or
is that games like Heavenly Sword, Ratchet, and Uncharted, 3 really good games. I don't think not enough people have played those.
I mean,
games,
look, let's
really,
think.
which is really sad.
Right, and let's follow up like where we're accountable, which is that as journalists we do a fucking shitty job after a game releases of keeping it out there and talking about it. We talk about games,
Well-
we preview games, we review them, and
I
then
don't know about that.
I don't
Oh,
know.
come
Here's the thing.
What
It's
the
hard-
fuck are we doing right now? We're
Yeah,
talking
I mean,
about
we
Uncharted.
talked
hey,
about
you know
all
what?
the
I'm
games,
glad
yeah.
that we do this. I'm not talking about us. I'm
But
saying
our,
in
but our-
general.
but our medium,
in general.
but our medium has changed. Where
Yeah.
before it was just print, you had to always worry
Right.
about the next thing. Now, with online and now podcasts and the video, we can reflect a little bit more. But like in magazines, it's really hard to put dedicated pages to something people may already know about. You got it's a constant battle.
I'm
we
telling
fight
you.
it every day.
I mean,
Something that I really, really want to focus on, and I mean, and Sam, you know, because we've talked about this as part of reviews, is that reviews are not. We're not going to close the chapter on a game when it releases. We're going to keep talking about it.
I think
we're
that's
going to follow up. We're going to talk about the downloadable content. We're going to talk about patches. We're going to talk about community that's playing it. We're going to keep doing all that stuff because this needs to keep building games after they come out. They can't just come out and be forgotten.
I agree, and that's why you'll see in EGM we still will after like a Halo 3 we did something fun with the Master Chief's armor. We kind of dissected it. Like
that was cool.
Like stuff like that, and hopefully when Grand Theft Auto comes out, there'll be more to talk about after that game ships. So I mean, it's a constant battle though, especially in print when you're limited in how much space you have.
All right, so let me take us on to the next one because Rockstar is a really good point, and they're one of those people who will make these points of reference, like the Casablancas that we'll look back on Grand Theft Auto. Bully might be one of them too because, as Crazy Screenwriter points out, Rockstar wants you to kiss boys. It's going to be a bully achievement. It says, God, I can't wait to see what achievement whores do. Do I kiss a guy to get 20 points? But that means I'm gay, right? But I want that achievement. But that achievement makes me gay. Caught in a loop 28 days later, the achievement whore dies of starvation and exposure.
Can I frame that?
Absolutely, Flynn. You can take that with you. There you go. Awesome. Souvenir from the One Up Network. How do you like that?
They're very nice. Very nice.
So a couple of quick comments. Stillborn says, I think Rockstar is allowing the player to be what they want to be. Something they've always been about is freedom. As a bi gamer, I don't find this controversial or shocking. I find it refreshing. One thing I hated about Mass Effect, since Neo brought up BioWare, is the way that after years of allowing gay relationship in their games, BioWare decided to completely remove homosexuality from their sci-fi epic. Seraph said that I'm another bisexual gaming fanatic, haha synonyms, and I have to disagree on the point about Rockstar. Yeah, I'm surprised and frankly delighted to learn that there are at least 20 boys with whom you can get to first base in this open world game. On the other hand, is there an achievement for kissing 20 girls? No.
Yes, there is.
Okay. So, I mean, obviously they didn't know.
Yeah.
So anyway, give me your quick take, Flynn. What do you think?
Why did I know this would be directed at me? I think it's terrific. I've personally been a big proponent of Bully, from the beginning. I enjoyed it, and like boy kissing aside, like that was awesome. But boy kissing aside, for me, who was somebody who was like, I picked on and beat up in school and stuff, it's a kind of a cathartic game for me. I was just go kick that bully in the balls, and but when obviously when this achievement came out, I did an article on it. I was just so excited, and I have to admit, part of my excitement comes from the fact that I have been vocally pushing for that since I heard it was coming out on the 360. Like for about 6 months, I've written like 2 or 3 different articles about it, and sort of like made overtures to people at Rockstar, like, wow, it sure would be cool if this happened. And so when it happened, I was just completely excited. And just to clarify, having played the game, there's not actually 20 guys that you can kiss. I think there's or at least in the original, there was 6, one for each faction. Like whenever you conquer the faction, you get one. But I think what the achievement is 20 times doing it. I mean, it could be 20 times with the same guy. I don't think that maybe they've expanded their, maybe they've got more gay students at Bulworth Academy now. I don't know.
Who knows?
But yeah, and actually there is an achievement for kissing girls as well. There's one for girls and one for guys. And as
one for both?
I don't know if there's one. Well, I don't know.
There should be.
No, there isn't, but there should be. And the fact that it's called Over the Rainbow just made me laugh. I had to, I'm sure a lot of people would think it was very stereotypical, and it is. But for me, I thought it was hilarious. But
so are people making a big deal out of this, or not really?
Oh, yeah. I don't know. Well, I mean, IGN listed the achievements. I guess it was 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And I went and looked at some of the comments on it, and just people were losing their shit.
Really?
Yeah,
Which really shocks me.
Really upset. And I was like, you know what? It's 20 points.
Yeah, I know.
Just don't do it if it really upsets you that much.
They were that upset? Oh my god.
The thing that kills me is do you really think that if you virtually kiss a guy with a pile of pixels, kissing another pile of pixels, is that really gonna?
Dude, do you realize how hardcore a tranny I would be if that was true? I mean, I'm serious. I'm serious. It's like
quote of the day.
Yeah,
no, I mean really.
Let's use this in the news story, okay?
Because you play a lot.
There you go. I'm a hardcore tranny in virtual.
In virtual, you play a lot of Female
I
characters?
always play female characters.
If you have a choice.
If I have a choice, I will always play. And this is aside as a female character, but because I think that most of the art directors in video gaming are male, and they're mostly heterosexual, and they spend 2 to 3 times as much time designing the female characters as they do the men.
Absolutely. But then again, on the other
Not a
side of
polygons
that,
for the boobs.
on the other side of that, and actually one of the guys on our site wrote a really great article about the design of male characters in video games. I mean, look at like characters like Kratos, like Dante, like Nero. These are all like really attractive, sexy, muscular, shirtless, like guys. Right. And it's like I wouldn't say that they're definitely like designing them with like a gay audience or a female audience in mind, but there certainly is a brand of sexuality with a lot of these guys that aren't present in a lot of other male characters, like say Marcus Phoenix.
Ooh.
I mean, a big giant scar, like a lump of scar tissue. But
that's a great way. Next time I see Cliffy, I'd like to go. So, you're a big scar tissue man. Is he back in the sequel?
Seriously, right? Though.
Yeah, no, but it's weird, but I agree with you, and I think that.
And it's more than that. I mean, I also play the female characters because I prefer to play characters that have style and speed and grace over power and just raw strength. I mean, that's just the style that I like.
Right.
In general.
Absolutely.
In general, and that's a broad generalization.
Yeah. But going back to the whole bully thing, I think it's great that they put an achievement in for it. And actually, I think that's officially the first gay achievement, if you want to call it that.
Oh, probably,
with the possible exception, in Gears of War, they had the one that was called "I Just Can't Quit You, Dom." And if you played as Dom for the whole game, you got
oh my God,
that.
there's like 10,000 people listening to this and went, "Oh fuck." I'm gay."
I mean, of course, it was purely referential. I mean, you didn't actually have to do anything.
They're like, shit, can I get They're calling Microsoft right now. Can I get this achievement taken off my gamer tag, please?
Oh, well, you might as well play bully now and kiss some boys.
I know, seriously. But yeah, I think it's great. I'm really glad they did it. I think it was ballsy and
it is cool
and smart and I think it kind of. It goes along with. I mean, Rockstar's always kind of had a fuck you attitude about stuff like that, and I think that in this case, sometimes it doesn't work, and in this case, I think.
I remember there was
does.
such a big deal about the fact that you could kiss boys in the PS2 version.
Oh,
or whatever. So I'm imagining like this is even bigger.
Well, when that first came out, we did some capture of the video footage and posted it on the site.
Yeah.
And it was huge, and we put it on YouTube, and it's gotten like a bazillion hits. And do you know that within, I think, 5 hours of us posting that on YouTube, somebody flagged it as inappropriate.
What?
Wow.
Oh my God!
You're kidding me.
No.
Of all the crap that's on YouTube.
No. What were the comments like too? I can just imagine.
Well, okay. So look, that right there opens up the bigger can of worms. So let's dive right into that. We saw Jeff Keighley the other day trying to defend Mass Effect against completely, bold-faced ignorance. I mean, just really.
Right.
Yeah, the whole thing. In fact, the person, confronting him never played the game.
Never played the game.
Whatever
Knew nothing about Mass
whatever
Effect.
you say, just like. Well, you didn't. It doesn't matter anymore. So that's my problem. With
this is part of the
Death.
bigger problem, which is video games have had, and the video game industry in general has had a very hard time shedding the "you're all a bunch of 12-year-olds playing your Nintendos at home" image, right?
Exactly.
Shedding the "it's a toy."
It's a toy image.
Yeah,
so
but the other problem is that this will always happen too. Is that like so if something like that happens in a movie or whatever, it's easy for them to go buy the DVD or whatever and they watch it for an hour and a half or whatever, and they know. With a game, it could be 15 hours in. They don't even know how to play games. So they don't have any reference point whatsoever. They don't know the context at all.
We've heard ample stories about what the ESRB rating policy and procedure might be like, and we'll have some upcoming stories on that. This is interesting, though. This comes from the ESRB's winter newsletter, and in that newsletter they said that they assigned 1,563 ratings during 2007. That's the largest amount in their 13-year history. But interestingly enough, the percentage of games receiving an M rating was down for the second straight consecutive year.
Think about it. Why? What's been out in the last 2 years? The Wii.
Well, right.
Wii.
Well,
Wii's been out.
Yeah, but-
Okay, wait, though. I have to.
So let me give you the numbers real quick, so
Okay.
you, can,
Okay,
so you
go
guys
ahead,
can
go
argue about them. In 2005, 12% of the games were rated M.
Yeah.
In 2006, that was down to 8%, and in 2007, it was down to 6%.
Do they have any breakdown of what platforms those were on? 'Cause that would be the interesting thing.
They don't.
Yeah.
They don't in this newsletter excerpt that I have, which is from GamePolitics.com.
Okay.
Well, I mean, honestly, when I look at those numbers, I have to sit and say, okay, well, this could be from two different directions, right? I mean, because like on one way, people could be, publishers could be scared of putting out games that have a
Absolutely.
lot of, like questionable content and they're going to get rated. But at the same time, what was acceptable 3 years ago and what's acceptable now.
It's a great.
Oh, that's an
completely
interesting
different.
point.
Excellent point.
And
I don't know though. I think if anything, it's kind of gone the other way though in gaming. Like
I
they're
don't know.
way more cautious now.
But it's
Like-
funny you say that because last night I'm a closet Nip Tuck fan.
Oh.
Now I'm out. So
What,
I
what
love,
the hell is Closet? That's a great show.
So I love Nip Tuck, and
That's a
if
great
you
show.
watch that show, that thing 3 years ago or 4 years ago would never be on. Like
Right,
the things they
right.
do would never be on TV.
On TV, yes.
Yeah.
In video games, I don't know. Look at Manhunt 1, Manhunt 2, all the outrage over like the content in Manhunt 2. It seems like, you're talking to guys like Shu and stuff, they're like, yeah, it's no more worse. Like even the version that they toned down,
I mean-
it's like it's no more worse than the original.
I mean, I agree that there's been a lot of focus on it in the last 6 months, especially. I mean, like, I think the Manhunt thing is like probably like the biggest example of that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you would not have seen a boy kissing achievement in a game 3 years ago.
Right.
You wouldn't have seen Bully probably would have gotten an M rating if it had come out 3 or 4 years ago.
That's true, yeah.
That's actually a very good point.
yeah.
I mean, I think that and that's why I'm saying it's like from both sides. I'm sure that it has a little bit to do with both of those things, but I think that but I definitely think that there's been an expansion in what's acceptable.
What's,
So we-
what's
we-
teen,
And
what's
do
mature.
you notice
Yeah.
also though that I mean, people like Jack Thompson, people like who do things who are like anti-video game people who rail about stuff like that. They just I don't know. They seem to focus on one thing. Like everybody's focused on Rockstar. Oh my God! Well, everything Rockstar does is terrible. Did you play No More Heroes? Dude, like, there's jets of blood spouting out of necks and like heads coming off and arms coming off. No, but you're not going to hear anybody complain about it, and
Because it's not the right hope.
Until now.
It's not it's not the high profile target for publicity.
Well, right, that's what I'm saying.
It doesn't
So-
do them any. It doesn't get them any time on CNBC. It doesn't
Well,
get them
right.
any time on CNN. And really, isn't that a big part of what it's about? That's the problem that we have, and that's why So what we're saying is that we think the audience has grown up.
That's why I'm wondering, like, what platforms are they talking about, or what? I don't know.
And that's why I brought up the
played
Wii.
plenty of M-rated
And that's why I
games,
brought up the Wii comment because
maybe that's why.
Because the last 2 years we've had Wii, it's so successful. Publishers are like going, well, we need to make money.
Right.
We're gonna get more stuff that everybody can play.
I think it's almost just. I mean, I think that the statistical part is almost just cyclical in that there's so many more games that there's that many more games, and guess what? Fewer of them are aimed at that core gamer market, and there's many more casual games, and they're rating those games, and so they have more games that they're rating more games overall, and more of those games that they're rating are casual games that are rated E or maybe T, and so that offsets it. I don't think you're really seeing a difference in number of titles. The percentage is very deceptive. I mean, come on,
Yeah.
statistics are there so that people can manipulate them to say what people want them, what the person who's issuing the press release wants them to say.
Yeah,
That's
75% of
statistics.
people know that.
All right, so so we're kind of divided, but it seems like at least amongst this group, amongst the core group, we're skewing older. There's a more mature audience looking for a adult sort of entertainment in their games, right? But what do we do to get the industry to grow up? How do we get ourselves more Uncharted's and more Bullies?
I think it's funny you say that because it's about maturity. I think it's how it's presented. If it comes, it's because it's a different medium. It's it's about how things look and how things sound. If it doesn't, because we're comparing it to real life. When we watch a movie, it's like
Sure.
we can compare. So like if you see like two virtual characters kissing, do you believe it? Do you believe that they are in love or that they care about each other?
Did you get a sense of sexual tension between the Uncharted hero
yes,
and the
but what
camera
I'm
girl?
saying that it's in our medium. That's very few games will.
But they
do
didn't.
that.
They didn't ever. They
never really got
They never
together.
sealed the deal.
I know. But what I'm saying is, it's a really hard thing to communicate through a video game, and not many companies can do it.
Did you get an eco?
I didn't. I haven't played enough to kind of get that.
Oh my God!
I know.
He's off the podcast.
I know. I know.
Have you played enough of eco
To feel like
to get the
emotional involvement, like
to get the connection between the two, to get some sort of affectionate connection between the two characters?
Sure, I guess. I don't know.
Oh my God, you're both off, Flynn. Are you going to stay, or is it just me doing news?
No, I can't wait for you.
Sorry, I'm not crying my eyes out if
Yeah.
freaking every game I play. But I'm saying I just don't think a lot of games do the emotion
Well, you're
aspect
right.
very well. I just don't, and I think that's what movies have mastered. That's one thing we have not got there.
Speaking of crying games, I read the story about this
God, the
Japanese
DS
game.
game.
Did you hear about this? Yeah, it's like called like 99 Tears or
the
something
crying
like that
thing.
or whatever. And it shows you like all these different stories or whatever. And it's supposed to make you cry. Like, by the end of the game, you're guaranteed to cry over one of them or something like that. I was just like,
Okay, so to bring this into one big picture, what would you say the game developer, publisher needs to do to make a game that has an appeal to a more sophisticated audience?
Well, I mean,
You guys get so stumped. I ask a tough question.
No.
It's a tough.
It's a
go
tough
ahead.
question,
Go
and
ahead.
So let's talk it out.
And this is like ties into a little bit of what you're saying is, I think that the level of thought maturity of the gaming audience needs to raise before. Because you gotta figure again, like you were saying, these people want to make money, so they're going to go for the lowest common denominator, whatever. They're going to go for whatever the mass amount of people are going to like, and so until that mass amount of people is ready to accept and deal with boys kissing in games, or something like Uncharted or any of these some of the other games we've talked about, I don't think like a BioShock. I don't think that you're gonna get much more of that. I mean, because talking about things from an emotional level, like on in BioShock, like the first time I ever like took down a Big Daddy and just like watched that little girl crying over.
That's pretty intense.
Like I was just like, oh my God,
I mean, even look at like a game like Metal Gear Solid 3, where at the very end you have to press the button to shoot the boss. I mean, you have to. You have to
finish it.
You have to finish it. I mean, and it's little things like that. I don't know if that's like the start of things, but I mean, I think you were right. I mean, it's the lowest common denominator. I think our audience, over the mass audience, I'm saying like maybe not everybody listening to this podcast, but the people outside have to want that. And I just don't see that the mainstream really wants this emotional or, something that's tugging at you.
So you think that's the fundamental problem, is that there's not a broad enough audience for that sort of thing?
I think so.
I would agree with that. Absolutely.
I mean, I just think that,
That's discouraging.
It is. I think it is. And I mean,
because you know what I'd like to see?
Because I gave you an example, Call of Duty 4. Huge game, right?
Right.
Sold millions. But I bet you very few people will ever take away, like the mainstream will say, oh, that was so crazy that, spoiler alert, that the guy dies, halfway through the game. And you see him actually crawling and, from that first person perspective and then just dying.
And the end is completely tragic.
Exactly. So, I mean, but you rarely ever hear anybody talk about that part of Call of Duty 4. You talk about the cool multiplayer and the unbelievable graphics and all the sound,
Oh my God! Can we stop talking about graphics, please?
But seriously, I mean, you're
right.
One part of Call of Duty 4 that I think one part that I really liked that I don't think many people bring up. And so why is the developer going to put so much effort into something that probably not a lot of people are going to care about?
Well, I'd say the other side is that even when we have good narrative games, that the best narrative games are somewhere along the lines of a $3.99 book that you'd pick up in paperback at the airport on the way to catch a flight. I mean, it's not like they're really all that, right? I mean, so let me try another tack.
I think that's unfair, man. There's
Really?
been some really great games that really just kind of you brought up BioShock. I mean, that's unbelievable.
That's unbelievable storytelling.
I will give you BioShock. By the way, I put a 10 on BioShock. So I mean, I agree. I agree with you about BioShock.
But I'm saying they're very far and few between.
They are.
And till the overall audience, this the millions of people who outside of probably listen to this podcast want that emotional reaction out of their video game and just don't want to kill people.
Okay, so we usually talk about this in terms of games that are violent and
Trust me,
are sexually charged.
BioShock did not succeed because of its, overall, because it had this unbelievable narrative. There was a lot of other factors that made BioShock so appealing to everybody.
You know what I thought of?
But that was actually a very good sign.
I hope, hopefully that's helped start that people go, oh, wow, games are doing this now?
Right.
I mean, that was the
Maybe
thing. Like earlier in the year, we all said BioShock was not going to sell. We all called it, and it did. And it was thank God. That's great.
Could be the beginning of something really special. I think that there's a huge market out there to tap. There's so many stories. I mean, this is something that cinema has done a good job at because they're not all violent. I mean, sometimes you have a flick like Blow, which have you seen? You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Which you watch and you walk away from stunned, and I'm waiting for games to be able to do that to me.
Well, I mean, your point earlier was that, there are a lot of movie makers who make movies knowing fully well knowing that they are not going to sell very many, or not a lot of people are going to see it. That's fine.
Yep.
Do a lot of game makers go out and set out to make games that they know only a small percentage of the people are going to play?
That's an excellent point.
Not right now.
Well, I think that's a big difference between the games industry and the movie industry right there, is because you see a lot of people who make movies and they make these really great sort of mainstream hits, and then they'll go and do their own pet project.
Right.
And you rarely get to see, and I think but that's because of the advancement of film, you don't get to see bigger game companies making pet projects. You don't get to see that kind of thing.
Costs
and it's a
too
shame.
much money.
Yeah, it's
rising. Yeah, it's a shame.
But it's look at a director Robert Rodriguez, who did Sin City and Planet Terror, which were really great fun movies. But then he turned around and did these kids movies as well, and that was for his kids, it's his pet project. But you're not going to see, you're not going to be able to see a bigger game company like an EA turn around and do the emotional.
The closest we've seen is probably Clover Studios.
Yeah,
and where's that?
Yeah, well, exactly. There you
That's
go.
a great point.
Yeah. All right, so we've got a bunch of people out in the desert right now talking about all these topics at one of the better creative summits, which is exactly what DICE is, which is going on right now in Vegas. I have some news from that, along with all kinds of other stuff, including Mass Effect downloadable content coming. Stick around. We'll be right back with the news. Back and ready to hit the news, and kicking it off with our, I guess, is it really safe to say friend of the show, David Jaffe? I mean, he does have us on his blog. That's pretty cool. Anyway, you just finished reviewing the game for PS2, Andrew, right?
Yes.
And the verdict was 7.5. Good game. So there you go. If you're into Twisted Metal, you'll also be able to soon get that on PlayStation 3. He has confirmed, there's apparently a secret code or something inside the PlayStation 2 game. It was cracked very quickly by the crew over at GameFAQs, who deciphered it to say Twisted Metal is coming on PS3. Jaffe did confirm this to Kotaku at DICE, and we actually spoke with him a while back ago, and he said that we want to figure out how to really turn if we do Twisted Metal again, that we want to figure out how to really turn it into a AAA product before we make another one. Any Twisted Metal fans in the house?
Oh yeah, me.
Yeah,
I'm a huge Twisted Metal fan.
Favorite character?
Sweet Tooth, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Spectre?
Spectre. Yeah.
God, dude, I always feel like I'm alone with Spectre. Anyway, what do you want out of a PS3?
Oh, well, I loved. Black was my favorite by
Black
far.
was by far my favorite as well.
So what do you want
more of that? To be honest, I don't know. I mean, that,
I just want the environment to always be
that was
changing.
it. The environments in Black was so cool because you could just shoot down planes. You could do whatever.
Yeah.
That's what I want. Multi-level.
More of that would be awesome.
I want multi-level environments.
Yes.
I don't want to feel like I'm just stuck on a two-dimensional road.
I want to be able to customize a little bit more of the vehicles.
That'd be interesting,
A little more
Good
customized,
idea.
Yeah.
And be able to carry that through absolutely be able to carry customization through matches online.
Like if you're like doing like a Sweet Tooth type thing, you can like put your own kind of paint job on your car, and some little things like that besides just the weapons.
But this news, I mean, who didn't see this?
Yeah,
Oh, of course. I mean, this is like not a revelation. I think it's cool that it's confirmed.
Like the
and we
second
can say
Jaffe started like, his new company, I was like, oh yeah, Twist Metal PS3, can't wait.
So the good news is they've confirmed that this is their next project. So we're all happy. On that subject of custom characters, now here's a thought. There's an upcoming game from Mastiff, and I want you to think about. Think about what kind of custom character you could have in the Major League Eating game.
Well, dude, all I can say is if you're not playing a skinny Asian guy, you're not going to win.
I know.
Okay, like that's
So
it.
they have like Kobayashi in there, right?
They do.
Like,
they absolutely do. They have licensed the major. Who knew that? Did you guys know there was actually a Major League Eating license even to
I didn't
get?
know
yes.
that. But
I knew there was like a league, but I know that like
It's kind of scary. There's like an International Federation of Competitive Eating and Major League Eating.
all I know is the press release they sent out was so funny.
Well, but I mean,
Had so
can you
many
imagine
funny
having to
comments.
write that?
I know.
and that's so American.
Yeah.
Like, where else would you have like an eating
I
league?
don't know if this or the announcement of a Juno video game was bigger to me.
Oh yeah, that was
the game based.
Well,
on
I don't know. I'm going to go
Juno.
with Major League Eating because the Major League Eating the game is going to require players to show brilliant on-screen eating, a mastery of offensive and defensive weapons, including burps,
See, this is what I was talking about. Like, what
Belches.
the fuck?
mustard gas, and a course of technical
terrible.
mastery necessary
God.
to avoid emptying one's stomach in a vividly colored reversal of fortune.
God. Oh
Wow.
Yeah.
I'd love to see the Wii peripherals for that game. Hot dog.
The vomit bucket.
The vomit bucket.
Somehow the vomit bucket is not what I imagined Spielberg thinking of when he was getting ready to unveil his Wii game, which they did. He did that in concert with EA. So we've been talking about Jenga, right? This is like the whole... Flynn, you're already rolling your eyes.
No, it's all right.
Go ahead,
All right.
jump in.
No,
The
no,
Spielberg game for Wii was revealed, and Spielberg explained in the press release that it's called Boom Blocks, that it plays on the enjoyment of building and knocking down blocks, something that can appeal innately to kids and adults of all ages.
I love knocking down blocks. Don't you?
Oh,
I don't know. It's not what I want. I mean, I will be interested to see Spielberg's next project, say the real game, but the game that he's developing, the big story and stuff like that. We were talking about maturity and story and emotion. It'll be very interesting to see what he
More
does with this
mature-
new game.
more mature
Well,
blocks.
it will
Yeah.
be emotional
Yeah.
if nothing else.
Okay, so we're very quick to dismiss this, but what do you suppose the chances are that this Spielberg Boom Blocks casual game will outsell the high concept one?
I don't know, maybe, but I'm saying, from what I've heard, I heard the game is actually pretty fun. From what I've heard, it's pretty fun.
And that's all it takes, right?
So
If it has the right catch and it's on the Wii and it gets the right audience, I mean, come on, the box is in everybody's living
I
room.
have
right?
heard from people who've played it that it is pretty fun.
Great.
All right then.
So
Oh, game announcements in the national press are a dicey business, aren't they? As George Broussard unfortunately learned this week. So Duke Nukem apparently is coming out in 2008. I love the response.
So I saw so many
Did you
emails.
say that in your life?
So I saw.
Yeah.
So what's this? Because I saw so many emails going. It's 2008. No, that's not. No, they lied to
Well,
me
why-
and said it. What?
Well,
Wait, no.
Well, so here's the deal. They did an interview. So 3D Realms is based in Dallas, and they did a interview with the Dallas business news, the Dallas Business Journal. And in an email exchange with the reporter, 3D Realms president Scott Miller claimed that the game is headed for retail in late 2008, with the caveat that we may miss that mark by a month or two, but I feel very confident that we're on target with this time. And the Dallas Business Journal ran the story with that in there.
So what did they clarify then after that?
Well, on their message boards, George B. came on and said, apparently there's some confusion between what was off the record and what was not off the record.
Oh, my God.
And you see, I suppose we're used to dealing with the gaming press and not mainstream press. Lesson learned. He says, while we have internal targets, dates, and goals like every developer, we're not ready to share them. Scott's quote of, "We can't make an official announcement," well, the Dallas Business Journal effectively did that. Oh, so I guess it is an official announcement. So back to what we said originally, Duke Nukem Forever, 2008, and evidently, according to the email, it'll be hitting the big three makes the most sense. So that means it'll be on PC, PS3, and 360. Look for that in November, kids. Daikatana.
Or not.
Don't hold your breath.
And really, do you really care?
I don't know. You know, so the other part.
I really want to see this game. I'm
Do you?
dying to. Yeah.
You know what?
I do.
though?
I want to
this
see
game.
it. I
Yeah.
want to see it, but almost kind of like I want to see a car wreck.
Yeah, you know, it's funny you say it
No.
because my friend who reviewed Daikatana at the magazine I was at described Daikatana as a train wreck because you're going to play it just because you want to see it. Like, wow.
Yeah,
It's-
and this is what Duke Nukem's going to be.
So how about
is
this?
like the biggest fucking practical joke on the industry. Like, I just like the fact that there's still like debate about it being this year.
Oh, I know. That's
What?
ridiculous. Well, and the thing is, like, when it does come out, there's gonna, I think.
And you're doing a good job getting buzz, I guess. I don't know.
Well, how about this? Also in that email, and I was actually going to scan past this, but I'll throw this out for you. How about this? Miller also confirmed that Duke Nukem 3D, the original, is coming to Xbox Live Arcade this year with online multiplayer
Yeah,
and
we knew that though.
and co-op.
I knew that.
Co-op?
Oh no, whatever.
Yeah. Oh, well, okay. Well, Sam Kennedy, Industry Insider. Did you also know that the Mass Effect downloadable content was on the way?
Yeah.
Of course. You know everything,
Whatever.
right?
I knew too. I read it right here on the paper.
So it's coming out March the 10th. That'll be, it's entitled Bring Down the Sky. You'll get 50 new achievement points. So they can do what, 250 achievement points extra as they do add-on packs, right? So this first chunk is going to give you 50. So that maybe they have a strategy of 4 more coming. I'm just interpreting.
Okay, my question is, so it's what they said about 90 minutes of gameplay?
Hour and a half worth
And
of
how many
gameplay.
points is that?
It's going to be $5, 400 Microsoft points.
So do you think that's worth it?
How do you go lower than that? I mean, it's kind of you kind of get to a tough point. I mean,
I don't know.
$5 is pretty cheap.
I think Mass Effect's pretty successful.
99
It'd
cents?
be nice to have it for free.
Well, wait, but now you're talking about what you say? How much content? 2 hours?
No, an hour,
Hour and a
half.
An hour and a half? About
That
an
seems-
average film.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
bought a DVD,
Sure.
it'd be
Yeah.
$20.
And I
So-
paid
Okay.
$12 to go
Okay,
see
that's
that
a good point.
crap
That's a
that
good
was
point.
Rambo. Jesus.
That's a good point.
Why did I spend $12 on that?
Why did you
Beats me.
go?
That was terrible.
It's a long story. It was Klepek's going away party, and it was.
And is it just me, or does it look like Stallone's face has just melted into itself? He looks like an old candle now. It's kind of sad.
Seems to me he lived his life like a candle in the wind. Burnout Paradise also going to get some downloadable content. Some of it will be free, some of it will be paid. This came out in their online statement from EA. They will be talking. So first of all, they were making a statement regarding the significant problem that some 360 owners, those without hard drives, are encountering on getting Burnout online because Burnout Paradise doesn't go online without a hard drive. So in their response, they said that the big reason that they were not able to facilitate the core pack owning 360 users to go online was that they wanted the downloadable content to be available to everyone who was online, and no matter how they worked it, they could not get their downloadable content to work with the smallest memory cards that were still available to 360 owners. Wow, that's a pretty convoluted answer, isn't it?
That makes sense though.
Like, you're pretty quick to buy that shit.
No, I don't know. I mean, well, no, I don't know. Well,
I'm just saying that
Yeah.
what they said was that they want to let everyone play together regardless of what downloadable content they have at any given time. And this was in a statement that they made to the MTV multiplayer blog, by the way, which is where Klepek works now. It's their intent to extend the life of Burnout with additional downloadable content in the future. And as mentioned, we don't want the online community between those that have the content and those that don't to be separated. Our intention is to offer both free and paid downloadable content in a way that enables everyone to see the content.
so is that fair to you?
I think it's fair that everybody gets a chance to play it. I think it's crummy that the only way you know is a little call out on the back of the box that you couldn't.
Oh, I think yeah.
I mean, I really do think that is crummy.
Yep.
And I kind of hold Microsoft equally accountable for that because they sold a lot of core units, and they knew there was ultimately going to be functionality. And as shitty as it would have been, maybe it was their responsibility to go to the Burnout developers and say either make it for everyone to work or don't make it for anybody to work. I don't know.
Oh,
I mean,
do you
I'm just
think
throwing that out there.
Maybe they did. Maybe they tried.
So you think EA holds enough sway that they could have told
Maybe.
Microsoft, screw off, we're going to do it the way we want to?
I think so.
I would think so.
I would think so.
Absolutely.
All of a sudden, we see now Madden NFL 09, looking really good on PS3 next year.
Well, if we did, that would be because of the new executive producer,
No, lead producer.
lead producer, who is.
Phil Frazier.
So this is your story, Brian. I'm handing it to you. It's all
Yeah,
you.
so
it's all Brit,
basically,
you, brother.
the history of Madden on PS3 and 360 hasn't been that great. And, last year it finally stepped it up. they had a lead producer was David Ortiz, not the Boston Red Sox guy, but probably just as intimidating. He's a tough guy, and he recently left the company. I found out, and he cited family. I think it's family reasons or something for leaving.
Yeah.
But I've also heard that he wasn't too happy with how things were going down in Tiburon, which is not the first time I've heard that about that studio. It's a lot of pressure, Madden. Football.
It is a ton of pressure.
Big money. I don't know. I've heard a lot of. It's a tough place to work sometimes, but that development, it's like that. But the guy who I found out was replacing him, Phil Frazier, he's been there for a long time. I mean, ever since I've been at EGM, he's been involved in Madden, and he was one of the key guys during like the PS2, Xbox days. Really knows his stuff really well. Most recently, he was involved in NFL Tour. That didn't turn out too well. And
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah. So I think he just belongs on the sim side of things.
Because Tour didn't prove that.
And he sent me an email recently saying thanks for your support after seeing the story because because of the deck in the news story I wrote, will EA's football sim take a step back? And he said, I appreciate the vote of confidence.
And you were you clicked reply all and were like, at least I didn't reference Tour.
I did reference Tour in there. I actually said, here's to Madden NFL, and ended more like his earlier works rather than NFL Tour. So, but no, I actually am excited that he is involved in the project because I remember he was one of the guys after we'd review Madden, he would come out with a bunch of guys and he would sit there and just take notes of what we wanted, what was wrong, what we didn't like, what we liked. So I'm definitely
that's
something.
A good sign.
Yeah, he's a guy who seems like he's attention to detail, and I think it could be good for the series.
PS2.
Not that David was doing a bad job. I think he did a really good job with the last game. It definitely took it to the next level, which they needed because it was struggling. So, but the person they have right now in charge, I think.
So, what do you
good.
think? I mean, what do you think? Is it just really the pressure? Like you can't to put out the next year's game that you really can't innovate enough, or what? What would it be?
I don't know exactly, but I think it's the pressure of dealing with the NFL.
Oh, yeah,
This
I'm
is.
sure.
I worked in PR, for a while, about 7 months before I got here, and I had to deal with the NFL, and it's a hard.
You did?
Yeah. And
Where'd you work?
I worked at a PR agency down in LA, and just to get press releases.
He's like
approved,
so skirting past that. He's like, I'm not going to tell you about that.
Yeah, and just to get like a press release approved, it's a process. So I can't imagine like if you're making putting a feature in their game, what are you gonna what the process is like, and I think it's that. I think it's because it's such a moneymaker for EA. It's so important. There's so many, maybe too many cooks in the kitchen going on here, and everybody has a say. So, and then it's like the pressure of like annual title. Like you're making making 09 before
the whole
08
sense of
shipped.
the whole sense of like this worked. We don't want to mess with the formula too much or whatever. And like. Yeah, I'm sure. That's
and I've heard like there is, within that company, there's like if we do A, B, and C, D,
it's always that.
It will equal this review score. And honestly, I think that's the wrong way to do it.
Yeah.
All right, so we also found out, by the way, I don't disagree. I mean, I think that probably the toughest job there would be managing all the people who want to walk into your office every day and tell you what your Madden game needs to be.
And what sucks is that that game, like, people want to see that thing fail. Like, it's there's a crowd that wants to see
see it fail, but there's also a large contingent of us who want to play.
You do too in your news story.
Yeah.
No,
Dick.
Like I said, I gotta report the truth, man. He left, and that's what I've heard.
Yeah.
All right,
I did my job.
On the subject of truth, Weekly Famitsu had 6 more characters from Street Fighter 4. I know you were excited about Street Fighter 4. I know, Flynn, you wrote a story about these, so let's go through them real quick. The 6 new fighters, they're all veterans. You've got Chun-Li, Zangief, Blanca, Guile, Dal Slim, and E. Honda. Plus, there's one new one, right?
So they're old. They're new old guys.
They're new
new guys, whatever.
Yeah, big surprise. They're all back.
But re-imaged.
Now, speaking of new,
they look shitty.
New old guys.
I don't like the character.
You think they look bad?
I don't like the character art either.
I mean, I just look at the faces. Like
the fuck is up with Chun-Li? Like she has been shooting some steroids.
Those thighs, man.
She looked like a man. Yeah. Like there was this one picture that I pulled where they have her like with her hands crossed in front of her and like her leg out. I was like, dude, her thigh was bigger than my head. It was huge. huge.
Tell me what you said in my office was awesome.
Oh, well, I said so many witty things.
You're like, is that what dudes are into now?
Yeah, I was like, is that what dudes are?
I was like,
maybe,
no.
Maybe dudes are into like giant bodybuilding, steroid-ridden girls that look like men. But you know, whatever. It was like when they redid Ivy for the new Soul Calibur, and her boobs are enormous.
Yeah.
She's got like
they're all on the DOA line now. It's silly.
God, I just can't wait till Soul Calibur 5 or whatever. It's gonna be even bigger.
You won't see her head.
Yeah,
It'll just be a giant.
yeah.
Actually, no, it won't even be a body. It'll just be 2 giant boobs. That's it.
Soul Calibur juggies.
It was crazy.
It'll be like the wife from Dog the Bounty Hunter. Have you ever seen her? Yeah.
Oh, that was the best derailment in a long time.
Sorry.
Oh, that was good.
But yeah, no.
Sam admits to watching Dog the Bounty Hunter.
But Chun-Li, that's just sad.
It is sad, isn't it?
Because she was one of my favorite characters, and I like the, and I don't see how she could be like. I mean, I know this is ridiculous, but just like comparing like physicalness to like the way that she fights. Just not match to me. Like somebody that big would not have that kind of,
to be able to flip over.
You can't lift your leg over your head when your thigh is
spinning. Yeah.
I just want to see her
3 feet
fall
around.
to the ground. Like, start digging into the ground.
And now back to the
man.
serious part of the news.
sorry.
Okay, what's next?
Oh, sorry.
The
mean to have fun.
Sorry, if you want to have fun with Chun-Li, I'm sure she does plenty of space. The Malaysian Ministry of Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs, or the MDTCA, because everyone knows that one, has made a raid this week of illegal pirate game duplication labs in the southern Malaysian city of Johor Bahru. They confiscated thousands of pirated computer and video games, and overall they got 110,000 pirated computer and video games. Most of these were copies of FIFA Soccer 08, EA Rugby 08,
so
NBA Live 08.
This is news for our Malaysian audience. So
No, this is news in general. This is like they're taking down pirates. The ESA is excited. The ESA sent me a press release. They're taking down pirates.
So the majority were soccer and rugby games?
No, it's EA Sports titles. It was Soccer 08, Rugby 08, Live 08, and Tiger Woods.
Wow.
They stopped the pirates dead in their tracks.
See, Madden's failing. It can't even do well over there.
Oh, Jesus.
Poor Madden. Can't get love.
Oh, my God. You're brutal.
Well, but I mean,
I'm like the biggest football fan in the world. Give me a break. I'm joking.
Well, Nintendo's been really aggressive. I mean, we've gotten like tons of press releases from Nintendo.
Right.
They're like, we've been squashing out pirates right and left.
Speaking of squashing things out, Wii apparently is killing the arcade business.
What a transition.
That was amazing. I'm really impressed.
Way to go, bud.
It's a gift.
I won't let everybody know that I actually set that up for you.
Speaking of squashing things out.
The Wii is...
I expect that as good of a transition for the rest of these, buddy, so go.
the Wii is destroying the last bastion of arcades in the world, Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Namco Bandai, in their financials, has released that they're closing 20% of their arcades. Sega recently said that they're shuttering 100 locations.
They've been shutting stuff down every year anyway. It's like I think that Wii is just kind of a scapegoat here. Like,
really? Because the argument goes that the Wii is gesture-based, which emulates a lot. I mean, think about it. The great games in Japanese arcades are the games where you're gesturing, where you're doing
but
things.
they haven't had anything new. In the Japanese arcade. We went to an arcade when we were over there in September or whatever, and there was nothing new.
Yeah, there wasn't really anything.
There was nothing new. I mean, there still are
they're still sticking fingers in people's butts. They're doing the sticking finger in the butt game.
All right.
So, is there a sticking finger in the butt Wii game?
No, but there's a sticking finger in the butt transition.
The rumor is Viacom buying Take-Two.
Yeah. Do you think it'll happen? Apparently, there's a rumor running around that Viacom has offered above the share value of Take-Two to buy them out. They offered $23 a share. Recently, it's trading at $16 a share. That would put their value pretty high. Now, before you just dismiss this out of hand, there's a fairly cozy relationship between Viacom and Take-Two. Take-Two holds the gaming rights to Nickelodeon and MTV game properties. Last summer, Viacom made the former Take-Two Germany boss the vice president of games for Nickelodeon and Viacom Consumer Products. So there's a tight relationship there. There's a good reason for them to buy now because they're buying ahead of Grand Theft Auto 4's release.
Right.
And this is certainly a consolidation market, right, that we've seen right now. Do you think this would be good or bad? And the other interesting point is that Summer Redstone, who's Viacom's executive chairman, also holds a personal stake in Midway. More consolidation? Anyone have an opinion? It's going to happen? Not going to happen? I'm going to say going to happen.
Not going to happen.
Going to happen because
it doesn't really matter to me.
Take-Two's interested in being bought.
Yeah.
And Viacom is a great solution for them, and it's a good partnership. It's just
it's
like
a lot of money though. That's a serious investment.
I think Viacom doesn't have any problem digging up that kind of
definitely.
cash.
But I mean, that's going to be a big sign.
Yeah, I actually have that. Viacom has, by the way, they own MTV, Nickelodeon, Paramount Pictures, DreamWorks Studios, and their annual group revenues are over $11 billion.
Oh, and they own a lot more than that too.
I'm sure they
drop
do.
in the bucket.
So there you go.
Logo Network,
And
I think Country Network or whatever. They got like a ton of stuff.
So it's a great combination, right? Going to happen. It's a
I'm
consolidating.
just going to say no just to say no.
Yeah.
It's a consolidating workplace, and this is something that Gore Verbinski was teeing off on during the DICE keynote Wednesday night. He was actually got into it. He was very animated, I guess is the right way to put it, in talking about his relationship with financier Disney over the Pirates of the Caribbean games and the interaction with the movie licenses. He said that, first of all, in his opinion, gaming is no longer dismissible as a hobby. This is interesting because we were talking about gaming growing up. He pointed out his own recent, and he called them visceral experiences with games such as Flow. I was like, I don't know, is that visceral? Flow?
Don't get me
BioShock, Halo 3, but Second Life?
Oh, God.
I mean, Gore, what are you doing, dude?
Why?
Exactly. But I like some of the message that he had. I mean, obviously, when you're doing a keynote for a big convention, you're trying very much to speak to the audience and get them excited. Some of the things he pointed out were very strong, though. Games are not merchandise. Saying that games is no longer dismissible as a hobby. Those are all strong things to go. He says, 5 years ago, while adult audiences were dressing up in pirate garbs to attend the cinema, I lobbied heavily for an MMOG for pirates to no avail because it wasn't in their business plan. So the point that he makes in his keynote is that large-scale publishers are very bottom-line oriented, that they're very business plan oriented, and that they base their creative decisions on the right business move to make at the time, right?
Yeah.
And
duh.
he's
Duh. Yeah, I mean, of course.
well,
I mean, it's like, yeah, I mean, yeah.
so there's nothing new there. But would you expect to hear that from Gore Verbinski? In relationship to the gaming business, would you expect him to hear him telling game producers and game developers that they should be pushing the envelope with their publishers?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, never mind. You guys aren't interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, whatever. It's like, yeah.
Blizzard at DICE was also talking about the building blocks of their success because they've built quite a gaming empire. And
let me see. It's William Shatner, Jean-Claude Van Damme, those the building blocks,
And Mr. T.
Yeah, Mr. T. That is the trifecta. That is right there. No, I'm just kidding, but
yes, that is the trifecta. Or, in other words, they were talking about how they don't greenlight games that aren't going to be successful. And one of the things they did in this presentation was they showed.
no way. Wait, if this game's gonna suck, they don't release it.
They don't
I don't
release
believe it.
They actually sit on
I've
it. That's
seen some really crappy games.
but not with Blizzard's name on them, right?
No.
So what were some of the games that they said they canceled or whatever?
They pointed out games people play and Shattered Nations, Pax Imperia, Warcraft Adventures, Nomad, and Reiko. Some of those I knew, like
Not
Warcraft
Ghost?
Adventure.
Ghost?
What about StarCraft for Ghost?
No, they conspicuously absent was Ghost from this conversation.
Did you guys ever play it at like the trade shows?
Which one?
The one that
The one with the original developer, the one after the
I
guys
think
who
I
did
played the original
nuts and bolts
developer
one.
or at least.
Oh, I've seen both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I visually I like the first one.
I like the first one.
Gameplay I like
Yeah.
the second one.
Yeah, I agree, definitely.
It would
So-
be nice.
I
Apparently,
can't wait for the third one.
who knows?
Yeah,
Might not be dead yet. He said that. So they went on to talk about some of the things that they make as their acid tests. One of them simply comes down to when people are playing the game on their lunch breaks. then they know that they have a hit. Mm-hmm. That's pretty simple. I mean, there's really not that much crazy science to it, is there?
I mean, it's great that they do that. I mean, I wish more companies could do that, but like a lot of publishers have to release the games. They know their shit.
Exactly. They have to do just for so they can stay alive for another year and make the game they hope to make.
Right.
Well, I guess one company that we're not worrying about staying alive that long would be Microsoft. Shane Kim has also been talking at the. You think they're all right? You think they'll make it to next week?
Yeah,
they might make it to next week. Shane Kim has pronounced that the console war is not over.
Thanks. Oh, thanks, Shane. That's great.
Thought you guys would like to know that the console war is not over. He did in a line of questioning acknowledge that they asked him if the pipeline for Xbox 360 was empty for 2008.
Right, and he said like, "Oh, there's still more you haven't seen."
He's like, "No, it's stacked.
Yeah.
You just don't know about it.
You just don't know about it." Yeah.
It's great. We got games. We got fantastic games. What are they? They're secret. They're special.
They're secret games.
They're secret games.
You know what's funny? I think people. It's weird because last year I thought they were a lot of the companies like the Nintendos and Microsoft were showing things earlier.
Yeah.
And I feel like people are now getting
really
used
being
to
tight-vested.
now they're getting used to the new the E3 timeframe. So we're going to see a lot more bigger announcements in the May and the June.
It's going to be really tough to manage the number of people wanting to get their games out there and filtering through all that and determining, hey, what are the winners here?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people are expecting GDC to be a huge event, and from what I've talked to people about like announcements and stuff, it ain't gonna be.
Not gonna be.
I don't know.
Not for the big games. Not for the really big ones.
I've talked to people, and
it's changed complexion in the last week.
It does. From what I've heard there's like not that mega. Like we're not gonna see like a little big planet in home kind of thing. We're gonna see like Mario remember when Miyamoto brought Mario Galaxy last year? Like none of that stuff. I don't think it's gonna happen this year. It's gonna be a very different show. Not conference. Sorry.
Like we're probably gonna start seeing the bigger stuff around May.
Yeah.
Like that's when it'll happen.
I think I'm going to disagree because in the last week or so, it just seems like there's been a
What
little
are you drinking right now?
But
what are you
nothing.
drinking?
It's
because
empty.
I will if there's something that like big, I will buy you a new one of these.
Okay, that would be Woodford's Reserve.
Okay.
If there's something big, folks, you all heard it right here. He owes me $750 of Woodford Reserve because there's going to be something big at GDC. Be fantastic. We'll talk about it on Friday of GDC. What else did Shane say? Shane acknowledged the success of both Sony and Nintendo, respected them. I mean, this was. I mean, I'm sorry. I like Shane Kim. He's a nice guy, but he always is. He's like the political mouthpiece of Microsoft, don't you think? He says the right things at the right places and times.
I'll still never forgive him for telling me that True Fantasy Live was looking up really good, and 2 weeks later it was canceled.
Well, I mean, he was just.
I had to say that console wars comment. I'm sorry, that's kind of a little ridiculous.
It is a little ridiculous, but it's kind of. It's kind of funny and
it is.
It's cool of him to say that in a way.
Well, right.
It's so ridiculous.
Well, I find it funny that people are still kind of going on about that because at least in my opinion, a console war isn't over until the console is no longer functioning, right? I mean, unless you got something that's going to drop out like a game like GameCube or like a Dreamcast that suddenly just stops making stuff.
Yep.
You can't even. I don't even think you can really. I mean, we can now look back and judge like last generation, probably some, but like I don't think that this console war is going to be over for at least another 5 to 6 years.
In a lot of ways, it really is just getting started.
Right, exactly.
I mean, certainly for Sony.
Well, yeah, because I mean, look at the Wii came so strong out of the gate, and this is actually something we talked about on our podcast a couple weeks ago. Just the Wii came so strong out of the gate, and everybody was like all about it, and yet I think that like for core gamers, that like love has dropped off.
Mine has dropped a lot.
Yeah,
and it's sad that I feel like I said it on this podcast before. I feel like I got my 3 to 4 games a year in the Wii, and that's it.
Right. And then you look at like the PS3, which just got so dogged coming and I'm not saying it was for bad reason. I mean, they certainly made a lot of mistakes along the way, but they're now with like games like Uncharted and some of the other stuff they got coming out. I think we're gonna they're gonna start pulling really pulling ahead.
I mean,
more.
if you look on paper, PS3 should have a huge year.
Yeah,
it should.
Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely. Great point.
For many ways, Grand Theft Auto is still thought of as a Sony game. Metal Gear, Killzone, Resistance.
And we still don't even know like when stuff like Final Fantasy will really fall.
Yeah, I
and all
mean,
that,
right.
I on paper, I just think it just dominate. What about games like Infamous we don't know about?
That's a good point.
Well, here's the other thing with the PS3 too is like if they're breaking even,
don't underestimate SOCOM.
Yeah, I think that could be huge to their online.
No, but if they're breaking even on the hardware now, I mean, price drop is going to happen at some point. So like that's when consoles don't really start to sell until like what, $299? No, $200 actually. Like that's when like PS2 started to really take off. So yeah, we're just getting started still.
And I just hope that all those people who end up buying a PS3 this year will go back and play games like Uncharted, Ratchet, and Heavily Sword.
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
Please,
they really should.
Please. You're looking when those games go down in price, boom, buy.
Well, I think when the sequels come out, then they're going to go back.
Yep.
Interesting that you should bring up a price cut for PS3 because there was a word from IBM this week that they have now shrunk the cell processor, the specific cell processor that goes into the PS3, to a smaller process. Now, this does not sound like a huge deal, but here's things that it gives you. It gives you a cooler running processor, which means that you can run less active cooling. It also means that you get more chips for the amount of the amount of chips that you're making each batch. So it adds to efficiency, means you can make your chips more cheaply. Mm-hmm. Price cut?
Yep.
Do you think so? Which way do you think it'll go? Do you think that Sony will take this as a price cut opportunity, or do you think they'll take it as an opportunity to start making money again on the hardware?
For now, make money and then eventually a price cut whenever they feel like they really need to.
Yeah, I think they kind of have to.
It'll probably be timed with one of the bigger games, whether it's GTA, Metal Gear, something in the fall, whatever.
Well, it's interesting too. You were just saying about you were hoping people would go back and play the games, and like if this price cut does happen, well, now Japan is supposedly getting like PS3 titles that are going to be like greatest hits.
Yeah, like isn't Resistance one of their greatest hits? Like I saw like a box art or something.
Really? Yes, there is. There was.
Yeah,
they. Well, actually, what it is, because I think it's still kind of rumory at this point. Because what it was like and I can't remember where the source was, so I apologize. But like there was a rumor going around that there was a Japanese retailer, and this Japanese retailer was starting to list. It was called like PlayStation 3 the best, I believe is what it was called.
I'm not surprised at all, though.
And then there was some box art that came out, and so these, there's going to be some of these titles, and I think Resistance was on probably like the launch, like stuff that came out around launch is going to be, and so if Sony can pull off a price cut and then pull off this greatest hits thing, that could be a really big move for them.
The other interesting angle that Ars Technica, who was the original reporter of the story, caught on this is that IBM has become more strongly linked to the PlayStation 3 through the cell than had originally been anticipated, because they originally talked about how the cell would be in many other appliances. And number one, that hasn't materialized a lot. And number two, in reducing the size of this chip, again, they haven't added any upgrades to its performance. They haven't added any upgrades to how it performs in any way. In fact, they were actually specific in pointing out that it would perform process to process exactly the same way the prior chip had for the PlayStation 3. So they've become very linked to that. It's an interesting sort of relationship that's developed between the two companies there, IBM and Sony. And last but not least, on your PlayStation 3, if you picked up Devil May Cry 4 and you've got it on your PlayStation 3, you may have encountered the installs. There's been a little bit of complaining. It takes apparently about 22 to 25 minutes to install. Well, our good friend Chris Kramer over at Capcom, hi Chris, who has a little blog that he does for Capcom, has some suggestions. I mean, first of all, while you're installing the game, it shows you some art and it gives you sort of the background of Devil May Cry 1, 2, and 3. But if you're not really interested in that, Chris advises that you might want to go make a sandwich and get a soda. I mean, because because you're going to be playing the game for a while, and as he puts it, they don't want you to get dizzy because you're going to need to be.
Wait, what?
They don't want you to get dizzy. They don't want you to get low blood sugar. You might get low blood sugar because you need to be focused like the Alan. You need to be focused like the Alan Parsons Project to defeat the enemies in this game.
I just want people to know that. I don't know. Maybe they don't know. But when you finally install that game and you start playing it, there'll be like small little load times between going through doors. You can actually skip those loads. Like just press start.
Oh, right.
It goes right.
Wow. Right. You know why?
You may not notice that.
Well, no, it's because, as Chris pointed out, once you've got it installed, it's got Super Nintendo speed. It's got
Super Nintendo speed.
Wow.
PlayStation 3.
Awesome.
PlayStation 3 packs the power of the Super Nintendo.
There's a rumor of Super Nintendo games on PS3 next week. Boom.
I really still cannot believe that people were like pissed off about.
Oh, they were really crying. They were really. there was a
don't-
lot of crying about it.
I just cannot believe that. I mean, maybe, yeah. I mean, I guess people like choice, and if you could have had that, then that would have been great. But
People like bacon too. I like bacon. Do you like bacon? Bacon's good.
you can make yourself some bacon while you're
Dude,
installing the
bacon
game.
lettuce and
I'm
tomato.
just surprised that he took the high road and gave them like nice suggestions.
Oh, he didn't take the high road. He went crazy after that. He went
okay.
totally. He went totally crazy. He's like, "Oh wow, the game takes 20 minutes to install."
Yes.
Oh wow, have you ever played a PC game?
But it takes you three weeks.
At least you don't have to change discs.
Still cannot believe that. You make the game better, and you just have to wait 20 minutes.
I know.
Big
God.
fucking deal. Like,
Bastards.
Well, I'm a huge Chris Kramer fan, so
Yeah, me too.
I'm so glad that he did that. I think that's
Oh,
great.
Chris, we love you. But that's a funny blog. By the way, if you haven't read that, that's on Capcom's site. It's what's the URL for this here? It's blog.capcom.com, and it's in their archives, but it's really funny. It's the title of the post is Psy DMC4 load times on PS3. Do not panic. Oh dear, and there you go. That's the end of the big show for today. What do we have coming up? Well, so Shane's at DICE right now, which is a little bit more low key than it's been years before. When he comes back next week, we'll get the 411 from what he saw there at Red Rocks, which is the resort out in the desert around Vegas. When we come to GDC, the week after next, we have a couple surprises, and Andrew has cleared me to key you in on them. First of all, there will be next week, our good friend Nguy Kroll will be joining us for the show on Thursday. So that's you, me, Shane, Nguy. What are we going to do? We need a fifth. I guess we'll have to get Sean in here too. We have 5 headsets.
Yeah, we got lots.
We have 5. We have lots of headsets. I like that. We're confirmed we're having lots of headsets.
Yay, Zip Davis. We
So-
have headsets.
Next Thursday, Nguy
Yes.
will be here with us on the show. And then the following week, the wrap-up show for GDC will be not only Nguy, but also Stephen Totillo from the MTV Multiplayer blog joining us. And then is that the day before that we have the
day before.
The day before that, we will be talking about the one console future with none other than David Jaffe. And of course, Dennis Dyack and our good friend Mark McDonald, all here to argue the one console future. We'll be celebrating it. We'll be embracing it. We'll even be unveiling the Phantom 2, which will be the first version.
Before we go, I hope that Dennis is happy that I still have a job because he said that we shouldn't preview games. So now that I'm the senior editor of previews, I hope that
There's something
he's
we needed
okay
to
with that.
There was something we needed to talk to you about, but we'll hold
All
that
right,
for now.
so that's what's going on.
We have a whole week of programming lined up for you for GDC, but there you go. That's Thursday, Friday. You get some big highlights. You got stuff to come and talk to us about at boards.oneup.com. Nguy going to be here next week. That's all we got, folks, for Sam, Brian, Flynn. Thank you very much, sir.
Awesome.
You did an
Thank
awesome
you.
job.
Thank you.
And Andrew, this is Garnet. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.